I'm here with Gino.
Hey, Danger, coming with them bangers. Tell me where my paper. Still on the same mission, trying to live major. Don't hate me, hate the game. I'm a player. Feeling like Pac. Represent on my block. Try to knock me down, but I come up on top. Yeah, they wanna see me flop. Got a plot, want a lot. I won't stop on my pops. Got so many flows, it's insane. They don't really understand the game. Got a plan and it's plain, I ain't playing. I'm just trying to game. I wanna get that big bag, need that D-Rex. Blow up Tic Tac with a blue cheese at. I don't give a fuck about your feedback. Eat that, get back, sit back, watch me spit that kickback. Got so many flows, yeah, they think that I'm insane. Ghetto kids in a lot of pain, all about the bills, ain't shit changed. Danger, coming with them bangers. Anywhere my paper, still on the same mission, trying to live major. Don't hate me, hate the game, I'm a player. If you a hater, I don't hate you. I'm just really happy that I ain't you. I just wanna thank you. You kept me motivated, so now I'll motivate you. There's a lot of cake, money on my mind like a banker. Coming through with them bangers, ain't no room for mistakes. Lot of stake, hustle till we get a lot of rooms, lot of stakes. Good kid, but I keep it gangsta. All gas, no brakes. Got cash for the case. More cash in the case. More cash in the safe. More cash on the way. Hustling all day. Ay. Danger, coming with them bangers. Tell me where my paper. Still on the same mission, trying to live major. Don't hate me, hate the game. I'm a player.
Danger, coming with the bang. With my fucking baby.
Said I'm taking big shots, just stop where I'm driven, no pit stops. This hot, I ain't playing like a 6 spot. Pissed off, thought I told him this a chip shot. I ain't missing cause you know I'm taking big shots. Just stop where I'm driven, no pit stops. This hot, I ain't playing like a 6 spot. Pissed off, thought I told him this a chip shot. I ain't missing cause you know I'm taking big shots. They been trying to get me cheap like a thrift shop, but I told them it's my time, check the wristwatch. They been talking way before they even doing something. Whoa. If they wanna play, let's get a tip off. Ain't no silver lining, dawg, this some rose gold. Getting new money, I'm a old soul. Yeah, I get it bouncing like a pogo. Whoa. And I'm too cold like Frozone. And my chick elastic, girl. Told them we ain't in the faking, this ain't plastic, girl. Bought a new whip and cash, now my tax is thorough. Way I'm shooting like step, but my pass is bro. The way I'm playing the field, I'm in a league of my own. And now they all in their fields, I got them all on my phone. But dog, I'm hitting the climb, I got no time on the low. Way I'm shooting is messy, the way I'm hitting the goals. I'm taking big shots, just stop. Way I'm driven, no pit stops. This hot, I ain't playing like a 6 spot. Pissed off, thought I told him this a chip shot. I ain't missing cause you know I'm taking big shots. Just stop where I'm driven, no pit stops. This hot, I ain't playing like a 6 spot. Pissed off, thought I told him this a chip shot. I ain't missing cause you know I'm taking big shots. I just left, but you know I'm coming back though. Whoa. And you know I don't play by my rags though. Now go and turn it up to the max, whoa. Send a paper to me now like a fax, whoa. Yeah. Got 2 phones ringing off the hook now. When I'm in the city, I get looks now. I was going bad, but I'm good now. Said I had to go and put my foot down. Told them I'ma get it and go. Even in the summer, man, they knowing I'm cold. I got a couple checks coming that I made off the flows. Might get a couple more popping if I do it some more. I gotta do it for real. Said I'm back in my bag. All my digits are climbing just like they all on a dash. And they tell me slow down, cause dog, I'm moving too fast. Might go and cop me a Tesla, cause dog, I still got a gas. Said I'm taking big shots. Just stop where I'm driven, no pit stops. This hot, I ain't playing like a 6 spot. Pissed off, thought I told him this a chip shot. I ain't missing cause you know I'm taking big shots. Just stop where I'm driven, no pit stops. This hot, I ain't playing like a 6 spot. Pissed off, thought I told him this a chip shot. I ain't missing cause you know I'm taking big shots. Just stop where I'm driven, no pit stops. This hot, I ain't playing like a 6 spot. Pissed off, thought I told him this a chip shot. I ain't missing cause you know I'm taking big shots. Just stop where I'm driven, no pit stops. This hot, I ain't playing like a 6 spot. Pissed off, thought I told him this a chip shot. I ain't missing cause you know I'm taking big shots.
Here we go, at the top of the class on a roll, and it's time to run it up, yeah you know. Maxed out, put the pedal to the floor, ayy, on the road, here we go, yeah we winning by a landslide. Never see me coming, I'm a landmine. Yeah, I ain't taking orders in command, like, yeah, you about to see me on demand, like, you know on demand. If you ain't know, you about to understand. Yeah, I got the team by my side, right hand. Yeah, take it to a string, you ain't seen it like that. Yeah, and it's the dream, and we coming for the bag. Yeah, and we ain't never going back now. Future expedited, now we on the fast track now. They won't lend a hand, now they see us on the map now. It's time to act out. Here we go, at the top of the class on a roll, and it's time to run it up, yeah you know. Maxed out, put the pedal to the floor, ayy, on the road, here we go, yeah, at the top of the class on a roll, ayy, and it's time to run it up, yeah you know, yeah, maxed out, put the pedal to the floor, yeah, on the road, here we go, here we go. Here we go, at the top of the class on a roll, and it's time to run it up, yeah you know. Maxed out, put the pedal to the floor, ayy, on the road, here we go, yeah, at the top of the class on a roll, ayy, and it's time to run it up, yeah you know, yeah, maxed out, put the pedal to the floor, yeah, on the road, here we go, here we go. Here we go. On the road, here we go, here we go.
What is going on, everybody? Welcome to the Frankie Candles live stream here as I fight for my life, guys. I got hit with some kind of crazy super flu. Darren Does Things said, who's this new streamer? Yeah, guys, my first live stream. Super nervous. And who said it? Somebody said Frankie used to, oh yeah, shout out to New Earth Guardian, said Frankie actually used to get nervous when he first started. True story. Yeah, that is a true story. I was very nervous to go on YouTube. I was not nervous about the analysis or the trading. I was really just nervous about being on camera. Wound up falling in love with it, obviously. But guys, we're here. We're here. Fever's gone, at least. Still don't feel 100%. But I had to go live, guys. I had to. I couldn't stay away. We dropped the market update yesterday, and we were looking at some really key levels, and we are potentially approaching that key level right now. The short is continuing to print from about $97,000, almost $98K. So we'll talk about that. I'm going to talk about overall where I think price action's going next. We'll take a look at the liquidity heat maps. I'm going to give you guys my thoughts on where I think price is going next. Are we still able to put in a macro higher low for a bigger retracement to come, or are those hopes over, and are we going to start looking towards much lower prices for Bitcoin? We're going to talk about it all on today's live stream, guys. I'm going to try to keep the energy up as my head is still throbbing. But yeah, we had to be here with the Mafia, guys. I just miss you guys too much. This is like such a big part of my life, and I don't care. Internet problems, sickness, it ain't going to hold me back, baby. So welcome in, guys. Thank you for tuning in. We got Perry in the chat. We got New Earth Guardian. Welcome in. We got Daniel in the chat. Said, pour a glass of lemonade. Heat it up, tastes weird, but it helps. Shout out to Daniel. I've never heard that, but maybe I will try that. I mean, I have the healthiest thing possible, which is, of course, just especially when you're sick, just dehydrating black coffee. But yeah, I'll try that. I'll try to heat up some lemonade or maybe some lemon water or something like that. Let's see. We got Golden Child in the chat. What is going on? I said I appreciate the new stream times. Going live during price moves is better than the end of the trading day when everything's already happened. Shout out to Golden. Yeah, we're usually in the Discord during the day, and then we kind of recap on the late live streams. But yeah, like I said, 2026, guys, we're going to try to be going live a little bit earlier. We're going to start trying out some new content ideas. So yeah, it's going to be fun. 2026 is the year of free will. But with all that, excuse me. With all that being said, guys, we got a lot to talk about. So let's go ahead and jump on into the charts. Let's get into it. All right, guys, so here we are. Also, don't forget to smash that like button, guys. Helps out the channel infinitely, and we greatly appreciate it, more than you probably think. So here we are, guys. Obviously, Bitcoin getting the, another dump to the downside here, bottoming out at around $87,173. And just to kind of walk you guys through kind of how we got to where we are, of course, we did finally get up to that big major level of resistance here between about 98 and 97K. We had major levels there. We had daily MPOCs, and most importantly, right, we had the macro. Where's it at? Macro POC of the range, right? We had multiple macro points of controls that we were looking at here. They all kind of had that POC sitting between about 96.3 and $98,000. We had daily MPOCs, weekly MPOCs. We had massive resistance there. We also had our macro golden pocket retracement sitting there as well, right? So we tapped into that golden pocket. Of course, in the premium Discord, we did look to take that short position. I am still holding that short position over here on WeX, up about almost $5,000. Literally short from almost, oh God, don't want to close it. Short from like the tick top there. So not too shabby, up 174% on that. So not bad. Talk about top ticking there. So we're going to continue to hold this, guys, because as we look at the price action here, are we going to be able to, because as we've been looking at this push to the downside, there's been a couple of major key levels that we looked at, some more local to look for potential higher lows and higher highs. Of course, we did not get any confirmations at those key levels. Maybe I could pull up those volume profiles, right? So we have this volume profile right here, potential opportunity to put in an early higher low. We got zero confirmation there. Obviously just ended up melting right through the level. And we do also understand, right, when we took this short position, although treating it as a shorter term trade at first, we did understand that this would have the possibility of potentially turning into a much bigger swing trade, which I'll talk about. Are we still going to be able, with the daily money flow still in the green here, right? Daily money flow still healthy in the green here. And this is kind of what it making us look for potential higher lows and higher highs, either at those earlier levels or even down at some of these lower levels that we're going to talk about today. So daily money flow is still pretty healthily in the green, unlike your boy Frankie Candles, not healthy right now. But daily money flow still in the green. Can't hate on that, right? This could still, I wouldn't say it's a total lost cause to see a bigger retracement come in. I could pretty much make an argument for both cases here, whether we're going to get the bigger drop to the downside. Of course, I'll give you my thoughts and my personal bias there. I'll give you all the signals, all the information, the data that I'm looking at. Excuse me. But, of course, right, we kind of wanted to hold some of these higher lows to see that healthy higher low come in. Of course, we've melted through those levels. And the two major volume profiles that I'm looking at right now, once we ended up yesterday on the market update, once we started breaking down below our new key levels, really what we were looking at like last week was like if we started breaking down below those key levels, we were just going to be looking at our local volume profile here. And let me go ahead and hide this real quick. Once we get accepted into this lower volume profile, well, guess what, guys? Unfortunately, that did make us look for the bigger continuation down, deviation above the high, acceptance into the range, can't break out, POC is next, and we started to lose that POC yesterday, and of course, losing that POC does open the door to come down to see our next major key level that, of course, we looked at on the market update yesterday, which is sitting here at the golden pocket value area low, sitting between about 86,822 all the way down to, I would call it about $86,000. So, of course, this is the volume profile that we were looking at, and this is what I'm going to continue to look at, right? There is a magnetic nature to these volume profile levels, and I would love to see, not that I want price to go down, although I am in the short position, I would love to see the overall fill of this volume profile into the value area low, and this is a very, 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 very important level to hold, guys. Once we end up losing this range decisively, I do think the probabilities become much, much, much higher that we are going to see a bigger breakdown come in on Bitcoin and potentially, start targeting some of these lows down here at about 80,500. Now, when we take a look at some of the higher time frames, of course, you guys know the higher time frame context here. When we look at the overall price action is, of course, our weekly money flow looking very, very weak. No pun intended. Weekly money flow looking very weak. VWAP headed to the downside here. Money flow also headed back down. This is very indicative of, although we were looking for the retracement back up, and, hopefully, we'll have some last resort opportunity to maybe come up for a bigger retracement. But at the end of the day, guys, we see this red dot print on the weekly. This is a major, major signal to look for, because if we print that red dot and are able to confirm that on the weekly and this money flow crosses red, of course, this is a major bearish sign. And the overall sentiment here has been like, hey, we did come down to major support levels that we had here. Definitely possible to see some kind of a retracement come in. But of course, all those retracements were going to be looked at as lackluster for lower highs and lower lows to come. And that first place to look for the lower high was here on the first local Fibonacci retracement, which is the level that we're rejecting right now, which is why, I can't rule out the idea of potentially getting the breakdown from here. The one kind of thing stepping on that is the daily money flow. Like, this daily money flow is not necessarily tanking to the downside. So that's kind of what keeps me like a little bit of hope for a retracement. Of course, I'm not really banking on that at all, but this is going to be a big thing to look for. Weekly red dot, very simple signal to look at. And, of course, the overall thesis, right, has been, lackluster retracement, lower highs and lower lows. And if we were to see a bigger retracement to the upside to hit some of our bigger key levels, which, of course, pull up that infamous 50-week moving average sitting in confluence with the 786 at about $101,400. Even if we do get a bigger retracement, that is still the overall anticipation. So if we did get some kind of shocking rip back to the upside, my sentiment does still remain for lower highs and lower lows here. But kind of a warning here, this golden pocket retracement could be the level. It's that first level that we could put it in at, but we never know if we're going to get those bigger retracements or if we're going to get those local Fibonacci retracements like we're getting right now. So just a little bit of a word of caution there. And that is still my overall thought process. And again, just a little update here on the weekly. You could even see, like, even locally, weekly money flow just, showing no strength here at all. And of course, we've compared this back to the previous price action back in 2021, and not just in 2021, in any other cycle we've been in Bitcoin. His weekly money flow crossovers have always indicated major drops to the downside. So, I'm not going to cover that too much. I hate talking about it, but of course, I'm really glad that we talked about, this much earlier at $108,000. Like, the real worry here started at the loss of $108K. Like, hey, this could be the entrance into a potential bear market. And, I'm not looking down towards 30K or anything like that. Next major levels of support, if we do end up, of course, if we do get the bigger breakdown from here, if we don't, and I'll talk about locally what we're bouncing off of here right now. But if we do get the bigger breakdown, from this Fibonacci retracement that we're rejecting right now, taking out 80,500, next big levels of support in case we do see some kind of crazy dump overnight or something like that, just so you guys are aware. The next big key levels of support I will be looking at are going to be sitting down at the weekly naked points of controls, sitting down here at about $78,500, right? So, I don't really have a ton of interest on these local internal lows here. I would really just love to just rip the Band-Aid off and come take out that low at 80,500. We have a decent amount of horizontal support down here. You have the weekly MPOC. You have a daily horizontal down there as well. And, of course, this is a level that we brought up in the past before. Haven't covered it locally just because we were getting the push to the upside. But yeah, this is, if we do see that bigger drop to the downside, and we'll go a little bit more local as well, but if we did wind up just, over time seeing that bigger drop down, this is the next major horizontal level of support I would be looking at. And then, if we start losing this low, guys, I mean, at the end of the day, we really do have to start bringing up those much bigger macro levels, which does sit all the way down here in our next volume profile. Let me hide the MPOCs just to clean up the chart. Right, it does sit down here inside our next volume, lower volume profile, sitting between about, we'll look at this in zones, right? 70,000 down to the value area high sits at about 70K. POC sits down at about $67,309. So that is really, if we are going to see like a major capitulation, whether we get the bigger retracement up or we just start coming down from here, I do expect, this to be the first major level of support. Of course, once we start breaking into that range, we can't get above the POC. We'll just simply be looking for that rotation down to the value area low, which brings you into the 50,000s, $59,805 at that value area low. We'll cross that bridge if and when we get there. But of course, with that weekly money flow crossing into the red, that is kind of the overall thought process, right? Lackluster retracements, lower highs, eventual lower lows, and that would be like the next major level to look at. And then once we get down there, we could view the money. We can look at the money flow, kind of see what I don't know what the charts are going to look like down here. If it starts looking really good, we can start looking for macro bottoms. I hope that's the case. But if not, of course, I'm only going to bring up what's on the charts. I'm not just going to say, hey guys, regardless of what the charts look like down here, I'm looking for massive bounces, right? It depends on what the charts actually look like down there. But just to kind of give you guys a clear view on what we're looking at, to the downside locally, $80,500 low to be taken out. That's going to be the first major zone into 78,550 on that weekly MPOC. And then I'm going to jump in here locally in a second just to look at kind of what we're looking at on the lower time frames as well. All right, let's see. Let's jump into the chat here. Unhealthy, but still in the green. Yeah, shout out to, who said that? Shout out to Jax. Yeah, I was saying to the Discord, at this point, it's like I just got paid over the past couple of days to have a fever. I just laid in bed and got paid to be there, not moving and sick. Pretty brutal, guys. It's like I literally, from Sunday did not happen for me. I literally, like, Saturday night I started feeling like garbage, and I was just out pretty much Saturday night, and then I woke up on Monday. And I was like, Mrs. Candles came into the room because she stayed away from me because she didn't want to get sick. And I was like, is this Saturday? What day is it? It was crazy. So I wasn't even, like, conscious laying in bed, like, watching TV or anything. I was just, like, knocked out. It was terrible. I almost went to the hospital, guys. My fever was almost 105. I never get sick. I like very rarely get sick, and when I do, it's a very short period of time. And for what it's worth, I was really kind of sick for, really sick for like a day. But yeah, I almost had 105 fever. Mrs. Candles almost called 911. It was bad. I couldn't move. It was really, really bad. But I feel way better now. I can still have some symptoms, but my fever's gone. I don't have a headache. I feel pretty good. Thank God. Glad to see the goat feeling better. Shout out to Sean Perry. I appreciate you, brother. Short squeeze back to 94K, then more dumpage. Open interest is up big. Shout out to Taylor. Yeah, so let's jump into these local time frames, guys, because, of course, there's no saying that, we don't have to get an instant dump to the downside. So let's take a look here. Now, obviously, we have the macro view, and then we have kind of the local view. And, of course, we have been looking at our macro volume profile, and this is kind of the lowest we are willing to look here. Let me go ahead and get this fib off the chart because this one's a little bit old. But, we're back down here at the current value area low. I mean, guys, if this doesn't hold, I'll be honest, right? And if we take a look, I said we take a look at the liquidation heat maps, and let me just go ahead and pop this up real quick. So on the liquidation heat map, right, we've looked at this recently, right? Like the next real hotspot of liquidity, this is on the 1 month time frame, is sitting down here below about, pretty much $86,000, leads down to about 84,458. These hotspots of liquidity do tend to get swept. So, when I look at the high time frame heat map, the lower time frame has some liquidity above, but this does make me suspicious with this hotspot of liquidity sitting down below. Of course, these do act as magnets for price. You had it down here, we wiggle around, sweeper to the downside, wiggles down. We got the liquidity here, sweeper to the downside, and then we just got this the significant amount of liquidity sitting below here. And just for what it's worth, just a little education here. If you guys remember to last week's live streams, we were looking for a continuation down here. And if you guys are here to learn, right, like one of the main reasons I do these live streams is to educate you guys on how we trade. Like, how do we catch this short position, right? And I just want to come up here and like flex our nice entries and stuff like that. I want to teach you guys how we actually do this so you can actually make money, trading, whether price is going up or down, either way, right? And one of the major things that we looked at here was the fact that, of course, we had the significant confirmations to take that short position. But the reason we decided to hold this, and I believe it was like this is around Friday, right? So we get the move down. We get the high, the lower high, the lower low. This was identified by our lower time frame money flow crossing into the red. You can see that 45-minute money flow crossing over here. We also had the high time frame red dots printing, such as the 12-hour, the 16-hour, and we also had the daily red dot looking to print as well. And when we see these daily red dots and you see the 90-minute money flow trending out like this, as price, starts a downtrend and starts chopping around like this, the reason we anticipated another drop down to that $92,000 level, that was kind of the theme of the live streams last week, was like 92K incoming. I think that might have been what the thumbnail said. And there's a reason we anticipate that. I know a lot of people probably see that like, how does this guy know that, right? And it's very simple, right? Like as price chops around here, I see this money flow coming out. Money flow indicates the overall trend almost every single time, right? Of course, it's not going to be a 10 out of 10 hit rate, but, this is indicating the overall trend. So, of course, you can get little bounces, but the overall continuation is going to be to the downside. You're going to be looking for lower highs and lower lows. And there were two major levels that we were looking at covered this in the market update yesterday, right? We had two major levels that we were looking at. We had this local Fibonacci retracement pulled from the local high to the low, right? You're either going to put it in at this fib, or if we got a bigger move up, right, we would just pull it to the upper lower high and maybe up into these were the two levels, right? It was either this one or it was going to be this one, right? We don't know exactly which one is going to get tapped. Whoops. We don't know exactly which one's going to get tapped, but the overall thought process is either lower high, lower low, or lower high, lower low. Why? Because the money flow is trending out, letting you know the trend is going to continue out. Not all bounces are created equal. When you have money flow coming out and you see retracements, right, you're going to be better off fading those highs rather than trying to long it to, massive new highs, right? So what happens is we come up, right? We start bouncing around that Fibonacci retracement. Money flow continues out. And look at that. Continuation of the downtrend directly into that magnetic value area low target, right? That's the power of knowing where those Fibonacci retracements are, reading the money flow, and understanding where those magnetic targets from the volume profile are sitting, right? So, free sauce there, right? Like, this is exactly how we do this stuff. And we talked about this on the live stream. And if you were there, right, hopefully you saw that play out and you learned something and you start to actually implement that into your own analysis and your own trading. And hopefully, it helps you increase your win rate or, start to find nice trade setups. So with that being said, right, let's talk about that, right? Once we lose this, right, what do we say? We say, well, hey, if we start breaking down below this level, we're just going to start looking at our lower volume profile, because once we break out of that range, we could take it off the chart, and then we just start working with this lower volume profile, which of course would tell us break into the range, can't get out, back to the POC, lose the POC, could be on our way back down to the value area low. So this value area low does sit at about $86,685. Golden pocket runs down to about $86,153. I see these as magnetic targets. We'll see what happens. We've been kind of slapping these targets lately, but this is the real big level that I would be looking at. But what are we bouncing on here? Like, we found a little support here on the weekly, right? This was part of the levels that we were looking at on the market update yesterday. Got a little bounce on the weekly. We got the push back to the upside. Oh my God, it's pumping. Is this bullish? Is this bullish? Well, money flow coming to the downside, of course. What is the bias there, guys? As I just explained, right? It is going to be looking for lower highs and lower lows to come, which we've technically put in. We didn't hit the target just yet, but it does stand true there, right? Money flow is always going to keep you on the right sides of those trades. And, hey, we got a nice big money flow wave in the green here for the trend to the upside. That obviously did help us identify the continuation of that trend. We made a nice bit of money on the long position. I've now stopped out in profit on my long, by the way, for anybody who's interested in that information. But now this money flow is crossed back into the red. And, hey, if the money flow crossing into the green gives you the big continuation of the uptrend, right, this 4-hour money flow crossover into the red could be indicative of major continuations back down for a larger trend to the downside. So this is the range I'll be looking at. I will be interested in potential, scalp long positions here at the range low. As always, right, shorts at the highs, longs at the lows, right? Of course, that's where our short is from right now that I just showed. And I'll just treat this as a typical volume profile, right? But we're found a little bit of support here on the weekly. We also had a daily horizontal sitting in there as well, right? We tapped the weekly, got a little bounce, came back down, tapped the daily. I would still love that magnetic level to get tapped. But we are at a little bit of support here, right? And we do see, come on down to some of these lower time frames, you got some bullish divergences forming down here as well. So I wouldn't say it's impossible to get some kind of a bounce here, right? You're tapping into support. You do have some bullish divergences, right? So maybe we get a little push to the upside. But if we do, what are the key levels to look at? And I'm going to give them to you right now. So here is what I will be looking at. This is going to be the first major Fibonacci retracement I'd be looking at. Of course, within the volume profile, we are going to be looking at the we're just looking at this as a, clean volume profile. I won't over-explain that. But, if we do get another retracement, right, as long as we stay above that low, right, doorway to the POC is open, but we do have a Fibonacci retracement here, right, which could give us a lower high before seeing that lower low. And this is sitting between about, 91,100 and call it 130 up to about 92,157. And, when we look at the overall money flow here on time frames like the 4-hour, obviously coming to the downside, the bias is, lower highs, lower lows. This would be one of the places I would be looking for a rejection, right? This would keep us within the profile, keep that magnetic target open at the value area low. And, with that being a Fibonacci retracement, it is a valid place to put in a lower high. And actually, I have to move this down to that slightly new low, right? So this actually has moved down a little bit since I drew it earlier today. So that zone does sit between about, I call it 91K, 90,929 to about 9254. So keep that marked off on your chart. If we do get a bigger retracement, that would be the first major level of resistance. And then if we do get a push above that level, right, we start breaking the 786, well, I'm going to be looking to take out these highs into the value area high. And then this is kind of where things get a little bit interesting. It really wouldn't be until we start getting above here that I'd be willing to look any higher. Other than that, right, we could just be a little fake out to come back down. But we'll cross that bridge if and when we get there. I mean, that is currently, a 6% move to the upside. So, when that becomes a little bit more relevant, we'll pay attention. But these are the key levels to look at. 93,533 at the value area high. You have that Fibonacci POC zone to look at about 92,054. And then between 92,054 and 91,000 or 90,929. And then the value area low golden pocket confluence does sit here between 86,855 and about $86,000. So there you go. Let's see. Shout out to Chichan. What is going on, bro? He said, thank you, Frankie, for giving us further confirmation on our short trades. I'm glad I held the trade from 97K. Thank you so much. Thank you, Frankie. Much love. Shout out to Chichan. Let's go, baby. Pay yourself. Don't forget to pay yourselves when you're in the green, guys, as well. You don't want to just, hold it forever, be up a bunch of money and then, have it just somehow skyrocket to the upside out of nowhere. Obviously, crazy things can happen. Shout out to Joom Crypto said, Frankie, missed you. Yeah, I fight for my life out here. But we're back. Hopefully, hopefully I don't just get randomly sick again tomorrow. I felt pretty good yesterday, enough for a market update. Today I felt, I'm probably 98% better. And then hopefully tomorrow I'm just back to totally normal. Let's see. Shout out to Steve Hickey. Said, Frankie, hey, brother, I'm checking you out because Harp threatened me. Who is Harp? Shout out to Steve. Welcome in, bro. Welcome in. Happy to have you here. Shout out to BK. Said, hey, Frankie, I sold all my BTC in July at 108K level. Was that a good move? Shout out to BK. I mean, as of right now, it seems like it was a very good move. Again, I am not a financial advisor. I can't tell you what to do with your spot bags or anything like that. I'm just here sharing my trade ideas, my analysis, where I think price is going, which obviously does play out a lot more often than it doesn't. But yeah, I mean, the loss of 108K was very important for me personally, right? Because we were losing our macro volume profile, right? Or our current macro volume profile at the time, which was sitting right up here. Right. So there it is, 106K. Actually, I think it was this one that we were looking at. Come on, volume profile. There we go. 108K, right? Once we lost that, in my opinion, it was very likely that we were going to get accepted into these lower profiles, right? Once you lose this value area low, the way these volume profiles work is you have balance, right? And then you have imbalance, right? Balance is the ranges, imbalance are the trends and the impulses. So, once you lose this value area low, and it's not just the loss of the value area low, right? You have to understand when you can identify when you're going to, a lot of people tell me hey, Frankie, I've been using the volume profiles. They're changing my life, brother. Deviate below the low, take the longs back up to the high, short the highs, back to the lows, long the lows, right? But how do I know when that range, obviously price isn't going to range forever. Eventually it's going to break down. How do you identify when that range is going to break down? Well, a very simple way that I do that is by looking at the money flow, right? If money flow indicates the trend, well, hey, maybe you're ranging around. The volume profiles can help you trade those ranges. But then it's really important to understand when you think that range is going to break. And one of the big indications there, which is just, funny enough, I'm on the 2-day here. This 2-day money flow crossover was a huge indication that, we would see the loss of this range, right? And if we were going to lose this range, where is price going to seek? It's going to seek that previous fair value, right? Whereas that previous, that previous fair value, it's sitting right here between 105 and $89,000, right? I think the actual value area low, I don't have the exact levels pulled here. I think we're sitting around 92K. But this would be the anticipated, whether you show me a old chart, a current chart, doesn't matter. I'm always going to say, right, if price loses this range and we get accepted into this one, I'm looking for the fulfill of that profile. So losing that 108K level, number one, you're losing your volume profile with your money flow coming out on the 2-day, which is a high time frame. That indicates that the overall trend is going to continue, high time frame frame trend is going to continue down. And once you get accepted into this value area, the fill of that profile becomes very, very high probability. So when I see that money flow coming out, I'm anticipating a high time frame trend, and I see that 50-week moving average sitting here. It doesn't look likely that 50-week moving average is going to hold, right? And when you lose that 50-week moving average in a bull market, right, hold it here, new highs, hold it here, new highs. When I say, hey, does this look good for new all-time highs? Well, if I'm looking to lose this and fill this whole profile, it doesn't look likely, right? With that fresh money flow crossover on the 2-day, it doesn't look likely that that's going to hold, right? So that's why I was sending all those warning shots at 108K that, this could be a very, very, big drop to the downside, and people did not want to hear that, guys. A lot of people were, not very common that we get haters, but a lot of people were calling me a clown for that. And, thank God, I don't ever listen to that stuff. I just kind of stick to the information, and at the end of the day, it could have been wrong, but the higher probability was that we would see that fulfill. So, yeah. I wound up taking a decent amount of profits on my spot bags at about 108K as well, which wound up being a great situation, right? And then when you start taking a look at the weekly time frame, money flow starts coming out on the weekly. You see, like, I don't know, man, timing of the cycle. This was almost the exact amount of time as the last cycle top. I won't pull up the cycle chart just to save time, but from a cycle timing perspective, it made a lot of sense here for this to be a high probability top for Bitcoin. And, you see that, you have to anticipate, like, well, this weekly money flow starts coming out. We come to the bottom of this range. That money flow is already coming out. Like, does it look really good to put in new all-time highs? Not really, right? Because if this money flow crosses into the red on the weekly, the thought process is lower highs, lower lows, whether we get the bigger retracements or not, right? That was so I would say, at this point, it's been a pretty good idea, and I did sell a lot of my spot up there as well. So there you go, right? Is it impossible to shoot off into new all-time highs? I can't say anything's impossible, but from a chart perspective, I mean, this money flow is as clear as day coming to the downside, which, of course, in very similar situations to in 2021, right, have indicated, massive capitulations to come. So, we'll see what happens, but that, my overall long-term thesis is, remains the same here. So, let's see. Short squeeze incoming. Shout out to, is that, Carrie? I'm going to say Carrie because I don't know how to read that whole thing. Short squeeze incoming. Potentially, like short term, right? Like I said, as we tap into this local support, could we get a squeeze to the upside? Maybe. Of course, that doesn't, change my high time frame bias. I don't think the short squeeze is necessarily going to put us into new all-time highs. But again, it's one thing here is that daily money flow, right? Like if this VWAP can roll back over, this daily money flow stays in the green. I mean, at the end of the day, right? Could you continue the bigger retracement? I mean, it's definitely like on the table. We'll have to see if we get that weekly red dot. If that weekly red dot prints, I think the chances of getting the bigger retracement are pretty low. But, can't rule that out until we wind up, like, really taking out these lows. So we'll see what happens here. We'll see what happens here with this. I'm honestly kind of surprised that this money flow is not just tanking to the downside. So we'll see what happens. This is kind of the one thing that's keeping that door open, in my opinion. But, again, we just went over the local price action and kind of what I'm looking for. If you just tuned in, scrub back, you'll see all that. Fever broke the resistance. Shout out to Samuel. Yeah, hit 104.9. Yeah, we were about to break resistance right to the ER. God, kind of scary. It's like you can't like do anything about it. It just like kept going up. Okay, I'm thankful. I don't really get sick very often. There's having no control over that. Just like, oh my God, like go down. I feel good. I promise. Stop going up. And just God, that was kind of scary. Let's see. Blurred Pupil says, I'm drunk. Shout out to Blurred Pupil. That might be why your pupils are blurred, bro. Shout out to you, man. Welcome in. Shout out to Perry says, Frankie, can you tell me the level, what is the level to lose and it's lights out for XRP? Let's take a look. Just with link on the chart here, guys. We'll just skip this for now. But just because it's on the chart, right? Value area low, 61.37, going to be the next level of support. It's like so hard for me to look at a chart and like not be like, hey guys, just so you know, it's a key level. Well, let's see. Let's take a look at XRP real quick. All right. Well, the level for lights out on XRP. Well, dang. You're kind of at it, in my opinion. So this 786 is extremely important, right? Because I mean, you've gotten rejected out of your range once again, right? And we covered this like play by play on the live streams, right? We were not this 786. We had another 786 that was sitting right down here at the time, which was the lights out level at the time. And it was like, if we can't hold that level, guys, probably going to get a very fast drop down to about $1.53. Reason for the fast drop down, not just because, I feel like that's a, key level that if lost that I just feel like it's going to dump. That's not the case, right? It's all based off volume here. Let's come out to a little higher time frame. You can see, right, like, let me just shade up these value areas a little bit. Or the volume here, right? You can see, like, all the volumes up here. Nothing underneath you, right? These high volume nodes, for anybody who's new, price sticks and is gravitated to these high volume nodes. Price does not stick to these volume gaps, right? These low volume nodes, price moves very quickly through these. So at the time if we would have lost that 786, very likely you get a fast drop down to this value area, previous value area high at about 153, $1.53. So right now, right, I would say that level has become the new 786, right? So once we saw that bounce off the 786, what do we say? Well, hey, biggest key level of resistance is going to be the value area low. That is your doorway to higher prices, right? We label this doorway to higher prices because we know if you're able to get back inside that profile, well, that automatically opens the door to the point of control, right? So what happens? You get up, you flip the value area low to support, and in poetic fashion, right into the POC, right? Where are we rejecting from? Directly from that point of control. Massive level of resistance. We also had Fibonacci retracements in here as well, making it a high probability rejection area. So we've seen that rejection. We've gotten the move all the way back down to the value area low, and we have not held it, right? We got the drop down, the bearish retest, and I would say, XRP is pretty much in the danger zone until you can, again, reclaim that value area low. And if that's, the clearest example is right here. It's like, this is the danger zone. If we get back above here, we can look for a bigger move up to the POC. Almost tapped to the tick. So, this is definitely still going to be the biggest level. You really want to get back inside this range. Losing this 786, I mean, you have a little bit of, you got a little bit of price action down here you could get stuck on. All right, so it's not like you have no support down there. And you can see that almost filled the profile in full there on that wick. But let me see here real quick. Let me pull up the higher time frames. Yeah, we're bouncing off the weekly, so, that would also be, holding that weekly as backup support on the 786. Let me see if we have a daily maybe a little lower. Yeah, so you have another, I'm just trying to bring up anything underneath you that could potentially hold you up. You got a daily there. You got a daily here. I'm gonna take this as tap, so I'm just gonna hide that weekly for now. So you got two dailies underneath you, right? Underneath this, there's nothing significant, and like structurally, I'd really like to stay on. I would say 2 levels, right? 786 structurally is very important, right? Because if you want to continue up, right, you're hoping to hold this to get back into the range and continue up. You got, technically you're holding higher lows, so that would be very important. This sits at about $1.90, and then underneath that, honorable mentions, daily at $1.83 and another daily at $1.80. Once you lose this, I mean, there's just nothing underneath you, which in my opinion, and to be to be very clear, the thing that you have underneath you is a gigantic void in volume, right? Just a black hole of nothing. There is just nothing holding you up here. Not only is there no horizontal levels, right? It's all been taken out by this big wick, but there's just no volume down there as well. So when you look at this, the next little peak in volume is down there on that next big support level. So I would say, ideally, I'd like to hold that 786 at $1.90. Last case scenario, right, or worst case scenario, maybe you could hold on that daily, but you would really need like aggressive reclaims of those upper resistances. So if you come, I would say losing this is really not a good sign. But once you lose that daily, that's probably lights out. Not lights out, but, drop down to $1.53 to $1.40. So there you go. Shout out to Perry. It says detailed as I could possibly be. Shout out to Perry. Can we take a look at Arrow? Yeah, we could try to take a look at Arrow, no problem. Shout out to Dave Digital. Said, from what I've read, sugar feeds most sickness. I've read caffeine is good in moderation. Shout out to Dave Digital. Good news. I don't really eat a ton of sugar. bad news or good news, caffeine is good in moderation. Bad news, I definitely don't use caffeine in moderation. I'm a caffeine junkie. So yeah, I probably have to cool that off a little bit, or at least get like a healthier. I guess I drink black coffee, which I guess is like the purest form. Should probably go more towards like a green tea caffeine or something, probably a little healthier. I think green tea is good for your immune system as well. I should probably try to switch to tea. It's just, I don't think it has the same punch as black coffee does. Shout out to Dave Digital. Welcome in, bro. Thank you for being here. Jesse in the chat as well. Welcome in, brother. Jesse says cloud indicator. Market Cipher B. Yeah, this is Market Cipher B with the money flow. Daily money flow still attempting to come up here as well. VWAP coming up. So, you got that on your side as well, but as far as key levels, I'd say about $1.80 is your last technical level to hold. Lose that, just nothing underneath you. Look at all this volume, literally. Come on, nothing. This is alarming, right? If you break into that, so drink water. Yes. That's one of my 2026 goals: to drink way more water. And speaking of that, we got purified drinking water. Go towards teas. Yeah, shout out to Darren. It's probably much better. 20 cups of coffee per day. Keep the bad crypto trades away. Shout out to Nicholas. Maybe. How do we catch these trades? No sleep, caffeine only. Oh, that's how we do it here in the Mafia. Let's see. Shout out to Tony Ross said, but XRP, I thought 589. Frankie the Tech. Shout out to Tony. Yeah. Man, I hope one day. Shout out to Mathis said, love watching your show. Thank you. Hope you feel better. Shout out to Mathis. I appreciate you so much. And we're happy to have you here, bro. We love having you in the show. So welcome in, man. Green tea has L-theanine in it, giving you a more relaxed delivery of your caffeine. Shout out to Kelly. Is that what that says? Man, I think it's the non-relaxed delivery that I like. But hey, you can't always have what you want, right? We're going to have to make some sacrifices here in 2026. We're all a bunch of caffeine addicts. You know it. Shout out to Nicholas. Yeah, man. It's bad. It's bad. Like literally on the weekends, because I'm not like in my normal like weekly routine, I like forget to drink coffee and I get splitting headaches. If that's not the sign of addiction, I don't know what is. What moving averages are you using? I don't really use, so on Bitcoin, like the big moving average I'm using is the 50-week, just because this is obviously massive support within a bull market, right? Of course, like people always ask me why do I have such a different stance on the market here than I did here, right? Like it's kind of funny, right? Because I feel like I'm usually fighting retail sentiment, and it's not uncommon when you're looking at the charts that you're going to be fighting retail sentiment, but it's really funny, right? Because it's like when I'm calling for higher prices, people are really scared because, of course, like when we're dumping to the downside and we see those major confirmations for new highs, we're going to call for them. And people are like, how could you call it? Like, we're down X% from the highs. Like, this is a bear market, you idiot. And but, of course, like we saw major confirmations down here. We were pushing into the major level of support. We had the 50-week moving average holding. We had money flow coming back up, massive bullish divergences, many reasons, plenty of time left in the cycle to look for those highs to come in. Why is it different here? Well, of course, the weekly money flow, number one, is brutally coming out. And number two, right, like you've lost your 50-week moving average. And when you lose those major levels of resistance, when you lose those major levels of support, they become major resistance, right? So, like, not only and on top of that, right, like we don't really have the major bullish divergences that we would like to see for something, I'm talking about something like, massive new all-time highs. Because at this point, right, even if we get a bigger retracement, like you're going to have to fight this major level. And even if we get above there, there's still major resistance ahead. And again, you're also fighting that expected trend continuation based off the weekly, which is definitely looking to the downside. We cannot ignore these higher time frame signals. Yes, they're not guaranteed to play out, although, this is obviously what I make my decisions off of. If it's wrong, right, that's why you have risk management. But you can't just ignore them, right? Like you can talk about all the bullish things, but you also have to take in mind the bearish things, right? Just like we could take in the bearish things, but we don't ignore the fact, right? Like right here, it's like that weekly money flow is coming out. The VWAP's looking to cross over. It looks very likely that if the high is not in here, it's, still going to be looking something like that. But, I'm not just looking at that, I'm also saying like, well, hey, we do have a bullish sign here. We can't ignore either, which is the daily money flow coming up. Does that mean that we're going to all-time highs? No, right? But it does indicate that, maybe we do still have some juice to come in here and put in a new high. So you have to take both sides. You have to take an agnostic view on the market, right? Like you can't be emotionally attached to your predictions or your analysis, right? You have to understand that like when signs change on the chart, like you have to take the bearish puzzle pieces, the bullish puzzle pieces, weigh them against each other and go with the higher probability, right? AKA the one with the more evidence. So like literally write it down. Like what are the bearish signs? All right, well you have massive bearish divergences. You have the weekly money flow coming out, right? The timing of the cycle, the loss of the 50-week moving average, like these things you can mark off, right? Then you take the bullish signs, right? Like, all right, daily money flow coming up. Moon, right? Like the evidence pieces are less on the bullish side, right? So that makes the higher probability the bearish outcome. And, at the end of the day, right, markets are somewhat random, although they do, history does rhyme. This is how we make these calls, right? Like, if it didn't work, I wouldn't do it, right? So there you go. And hopefully, coming up here, talking about the trades, talking about this $98,000 level week after week after week. We were looking at that level all the way here, right? Eventually, we come up there. We see the signs. We take the trade, right? We put our money where our mouth is, right? It's like you have the key levels up here. We see the confirmations. We take the trade, covered on many live streams, many market updates. And obviously, we cover it live and talk about the confirmations in the premium Discord to take the trades. But, there's reasons why we are able to do that, right? And it all has to do with the analysis, right? Any form of analysis has a chance of not playing out. But it doesn't mean you can't take a shot at the trades, right? There was a chance this trade didn't play out. But guess what that would have ended up being? A small loss. And then our long would have continued to play out. But when you wait for a level this long, when you have the higher time frame indicators pointing to the downside, it's definitely worth it to take a shot at those shorts, right? Even if it's for a small day play with the opportunity of turning into a much bigger swing trade. So we'll see what happens, right? At the end of the day, I always root for price going up, right? I could say, I want price to go up just as much as everybody else. I hope all the TA is wrong, and I hope we go to all-time highs, but I just can't rightfully sit up here and say it's the highest probability scenario because there's just so many things pointing against it on the chart. So, come on, Bitcoin. We can still root for her. Shout out to Nicholas. Said, don't be me. I married my coin, and now I can't file for divorce. Shout out to Nicholas. Yeah. I think it's a lesson that a lot of people need to learn, right? So I personally don't get, don't hate it. Don't hate it. Don't date it. Just trade it, right? So yeah, it's I think a lot of people get caught up in the the emotional. My coin, mine's going to be the one, right? That's not really how financial markets work, right? So, I know, I'm here for the tech. I'm here for the community. But I think a lot of people would be lying to themselves if they didn't say they were here to make money, right? And, when the charts can give you an unbiased view on, where the highest probability move is going to happen, that's, in my opinion, the best way to make the decisions, right? Because it keeps all emotion aside, right? Like that 50-week moving average getting lost, has no emotion, right? It's either going to hold or you're going to lose it, right? And then again, you could use the money flow to indicate if there's a high probability of it holding, right? When you see the 2-day money flow just starting to cross over into the red for a high probability of a bigger continuation down, right? Chances of that holding long term are very low, right? And what happens? Oh my God, we're back above it. Look at the money flow, right? Higher probability of a high, a low, a lower high, and a lower low. Right, and then you could use the volume profiles to find those high probability targets, right? So there you go. But anyway, shout out to Somley says how to correctly mark out volume profiles. We have tons of tutorials in the beginner series on the channel. I show you exactly how to use them and exactly how I personally trade them. So check that out to get all that information. Shout out to Mark Dutch said, welcome in, bro. Good to see you. He says, so you're saying Peak still has a chance, Frankie? Let's take a look at Peak real quick. We're going to look at the Kraken chart maybe. Good Lord. I might be smoked on my Peak bags, guys. Hot dang. I mean, still has a chance. I guess we could say that. But yeah, I mean, it's hard. I can't even really find any lower levels on this, to be quite honest, unless I was going to look for extension levels or something like that. I can give you something quick, Mark. I mean, if you get another drop to the downside, I'd be looking at the we'll call it 0.0234 to 0.0206. That would be the next place to look. To be honest, I kind of look at these as, kind of like speculative levels. But every time I bring these up and we come back to the chart, we don't check these. A lot of the coins that just have not a lot of support underneath them that often. But every time we come back, they wind up holding. So this would be the zone I'd be looking at if you get another big drop down on peak. But yeah, not looking good at the moment, to be quite frank, no pun intended. But yeah, no. So we'll see. But those are going to be the levels I'd be looking at to the downside. Let's see. Shout out to your comrade. Said, do you learn something new for trading? Maybe for last trading year? Shout out to your comrade. I'm not 100% sure exactly what you're asking there. Shout out to Meet. Damien says, I'll have to admit the dump today scared me enough to take profit early on my ARPA long, only for that thing to push through and actually hit my TP level. Shake my head. Shout out to me, Damien. Listen, bro, that's not a horrible mistake, right? Like to listen, from a trade management perspective, stick to the plan. But listen, like if you're not making the mistake on the end of like, closing out, at a loss, right? If you're like closing, let me lock in some profits here. It's never really a bad idea. Of course, you're going to miss that opportunity to hit your final TP. It's really a personal decision. But yeah, from a trade management perspective, someone asked me recently, like, what do I do when my trade's in drawdown, right? Nothing really. I don't do anything. And the reason for that is because I have a plan for my trades, right? And unless that, one of my levels is hit in that plan, right? For example, I don't think I have it marked out here. I'll just mark out a new one here. So my loss was, but whatever the invalidation is, right? If I enter that trade and the trade goes into drawdown, like what do you do when you're in the red? Oh my God, like what do you do here? Nothing. I don't do anything, right? Because my trade's not invalidated here. My trade is invalidated here. So either it's going to pre-accept the risk ahead of time and just let the computer do the work, right? The computer doesn't have emotions; it won't get scared. But that all comes through experience, right? Like it took me a long time to get to the point where I just let my stuff play out. It takes a lot. You need market experience. Sometimes I even get my emotions creep in too. Shout out to Aladino. Says, do you have the 50-week moving average set to high for the EMA, or are you using the 50-week SMA? Just wondering, because I see yours is a little higher than mine. Might be set too high. So I'm actually, for this, I am using I believe this is a simple moving average. I could double check that for you, but this is actually an indicator. Not my indicator. It's a free indicator. You could check it out. Daily, weekly, moving average, 50, 100, 200. You can pull it up here if you guys want to get it on your chart by VSTHR. I don't know who that is, but it's I can't believe only 227 people use this. But the nice thing about this is you don't have to be on the weekly to see the level. If I go down to like the 80-minute, that 50-week moving average is still a 50-week moving average. Because typically, if you just get a simple moving average, and I'll this will also just confirm that this is, I'm pretty sure it's a simple moving average. Yeah, so it's a simple moving average. But the nice thing is you can see the blue line, right? Like when I move to a different time frame, this is now the 50 10-hour moving average, right? This one keeps it at the 50-week. So I would recommend using this. This is like the easiest way to look at it. No sound? Did we lose sound? Test? 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 Can I get some green check marks in the chat if you could hear me? Says I'm good on OBS. Says I'm actually really loud on OBS. I'm going to leave it there. Sound is fine. Okay. Yeah, I don't know why that happens. Sometimes like a couple of people, never mind. We got sound. Sound is fine. Okay, cool. Thank you guys. All right, let's see here. Restart the stream. Reload the stream. Sound is fine. Okay. Yeah, I thought you were bugging out for a minute. Interesting. I don't know what's happening. Actually, Tony D, can you do me a favor, bro? Can you look up a new microphone? I think sometimes when people think I have no sound, this microphone is very good, very high quality, but I literally need to be touching the microphone for it to hear me. It's a very tight pickup. I need to get a new microphone because this is, it's actually pretty obnoxious. Tony, if you could find a new microphone with a wider pickup. This is a Shure MV7. Ask AI. So I have a Shure MV7, and it has a really tight pickup. I need one that I can move my head around and people can still hear me. And then let's just order it. Put it on the company card. Let's just order that. Shout out to Tony D. All right, let's see. Let's continue on. I'm scared I took a long scalp. Shout out to Rudy. Let's see here, bro. Let's take a look at it. We'll cover it live for you. So let's go down to the lower time frames here. Let's make sure I'm on the right chart. Okay. Pull up that current volume profile. So let's pull up Market Cipher B. Oof. All right. So you got the 3-hour red dot printing. And of course, I'm not going to guide you here on the trade, brother. You take that trade and have your top loss. Top loss, hey. Get your stop loss and your take profit set. You stick to that dang plan. But I'll kind of see what I'm looking at here. So the one thing here is, of course, my medium time frame bias would be for a continuation down. But, hey, 24-minute. Here's what you got going for you, bro. 24-minute money flow coming up. 30-minute money flow attempting to come up. You got some bullish divergence forming down here. For me personally, I prefer to have the bigger key level hit, but it's not that you're longing nothing, right? You got the daily tapped here. So what I would say is if you can get this 24-minute and 30-minute money flow to continue up, crossover into the green. One thing we do have on our side here is, I thought this was going to be printing, man. All right, so this is a little bit more of a muddy situation. I thought this was still going to be printing because that would have been looking nice, right? Because 8-hour green dot with your 24-minute money flow and 30-minute money flow crossover into the green. That's a Market Cipher B 1/16th bullish setup. 8-hour green dot, 30-minute money flow crossover into the green. If you don't know what I'm talking about, check the beginner series. I have a video on that strategy for Market Cipher B. Very, very reliable, high probability strategy in my experience. So basically what it means is when you see an 8-hour green dot, you want to go 1/16th of the 8-hour time frame and look at that money flow. 8-hour green dot, you're looking for the green dot on the higher time frame, and then the money flow crossover on the 1/16th time frame, which of course would be the 30-minute, 24-minute. They're almost the same time frame. 24-minute will front run a little bit because it's lower. So, maybe you still see that play out, but the 8-hour green dot has now confirmed. So I do prefer that to see. I do prefer to see those money flow crossovers as the green dot is printing. But, at the end of the day, right, you did just tap into support. You do have some bullish divergences forming here. You got a green dot looking to print on the 45-minute. 3-minute money flow also coming up. So that could assist you on a little bit of a push to the upside as well. I would be cautious, right, just with the muddiness on the chart there. I'd probably be looking at this Fibonacci retracement. Again, I don't know exactly where you're in at. This is not guidance on your trade or anything, but I'm just trying to say, if I were in your scenario, what I would be looking at here, right? Some key levels I would watch on the way up. All right, well, I don't know how low you're in from, but this anchored VWAP would be very important to flip. If you could flip that anchored VWAP, you could be looking up towards the golden pocket at about 89,202. That would be another major, major target. If you could flip that golden pocket, I would look to come into that 786 at 89,759. And then if you could flip that, hey, maybe you could take out the high and come into our bigger level of resistance that we looked at earlier, closer to about $91,000. So there you go. Shout out to Rudy. A little bit of local TA there. And we could watch this develop over time. Yeah, and look at that, right? Like you could see how this lines up with the local profile as well. As I just said, flipping that anchored VWAP would open the door to potentially push up towards that golden pocket. Why does that make sense with the volume profile? Well, if we pull this local profile, right? Well, that anchored VWAP's right on the value area low. If that value area low flips the support, where's the next likely place for price to go? POC. Where is that in confluence with? Right on that golden pocket. That is like literally the textbook definition of what you want to see for confluence. And then that 786 is beautifully confluent with your value area high. So this is kind of how I would view the local TA there. And again, I'm not saying this has to play out or anything like that. Of course, not financial advice. But this is kind of what I would expect, right? If you can flip that anchored VWAP, especially if you can get that 3-minute money flow crossover with your 45-minute green dot printing, right? You got the 45-minute bull div, green dot looking to print. 3-minute is the 1/16th of the 45-minute. Watch that 3-minute money flow. That 3-minute money flow crosses into the green. You might be able to get in here and push up towards that point of control. And we can watch this live. We'll just kind of watch this develop. So we'll see what happens. Whoops. All right. Let's see. Shout out to Mark Dutch said, wouldn't recommend 48V for Frankie. He spills his drink all over the place at least once a week. That is actually not true. It's twice a week, Mark. It's twice a week we spill coffee on the desk. Shout out to Mark Dutch. Shout out to Rudy said, now I'm shy if this turns bad. Rudy, no way. You're not shy, bro. Do not be shy, brother. Hey, bro. I got your back, bro. I got your back. I'll tell you this. If it doesn't play out, I would be accepting. If I were in this, I'd be accepting of that. If that stopped me out, I'd be like, fair. I got your back, bro. If that doesn't play out, I'd say still decent trade, bro. I got your back, Rudy. Don't feel ashamed. And hey, if it plays out, we'll amp you up, bro. We'll amp you up. Shout out to Look Left. Yo, I like that name, bro. Said, Frankie, you was Tino, Trader Reality's student? Shout out to Tino from Traders Reality. No, I was not Tino's student. I am a YouTube friend of Tino, though. Shout out to Tino and the Pattern Watchers. We gotta pop into one of Tino's streams one day. We haven't hopped in there in a while. But shout out to Tino and shout out to Look Left. I like that name, bro. Look Left. How do you find support? Resistance? Look left. Let's see. How to control emotions while trading and know the best time to take profits. Very simple answer there. I mean, number one, that's the hardest thing about trading, number one. Market experience, huge part of that. Dave Digital dropping the Pattern Watchers emoji. There you go. We even got an emoji for them. Yeah, it comes with market experience, brother. But how to find the best place to take profit. I mean, this just comes, like, in my opinion, right? For me, get above this value area low. A really good place to take profit there would be the golden pocket, right? And the POC confluence here, right? It's all part of the trading plan. It all starts with the trading plan. There we go, Rudy. There we go, Rudy. Get on top of that anchored VWAP, baby. Come on. So, yeah, you know, it all comes down to having the trading plan, right? It's not like you should never be in a trade and then relying on, like, when you feel like you should take profit to take profit, right? You should be relying on key levels and the actual analysis, the information, the hard data on the charts, right? Because that's what the chart cares about. The chart doesn't care about, you know, where you got in at. It doesn't care about how much profit you're looking for. It's why I always say, like, when you set your stop loss, right? You know, not that you can't set your stop loss based off how much you want to lose, right? But you want to set your stop loss. A lot of people get this backwards. You want to set your stop loss based off the technical invalidation for the entry, right? So, like, let's just say you're looking for, you know, just for example, you're looking for a reclaim of support here. Your stop loss is going to go below this low, right? If you break this low, you're probably getting sucked down to this next key level. So that's the hard invalidation for the trade. If it breaks this level, I want to get out of the trade. It's going to continue lower, right? Or very likely will continue lower. So that's your hard invalidation. And then you adjust your position size to calculate your risk, right? If you have a bigger stop loss, right, you would have to lower your position size to keep the risk on your account, whether you want to risk 1% per trade, 2% per trade, and that's 1 to 2% of your account, not putting 1% of your account on the trade, but if you get stopped out, you'll only lose 1% of your entire account. So if you have a $100 account and you get stopped out, you should really only be looking to lose $1 to $2 per trade, right? You could put 90 of your $100 on the trade, as long as when you get stopped out, you're only going to lose $1 to $2. Right? Does that make sense? So you want to set your stop loss on the technical invalidation of the trade. The chart cares about the chart. It doesn't care about, I only want to lose, I don't want to lose, X percent, right? It's going to care about the invalidation of the trade, right? So it's the same thing for the take profits, right? I'm not saying you can't take profit before you hit your target. You could if you want. But at the end of the day, right, you want to have your plan and then just take profit at your next target. Flip the POC. Next target's the value area high. That would be the next place to take profit. If you get in down here and you have a big enough move from your entry to the value area low, right? Or, whatever strategy you're using, right? If I got in down here with a 1% move to the value area low, I might even take profit before I enter into the profile. So you want to have your key levels. And if you don't have any of this, right, you got to kind of not go back to the drawing board, but you want to learn how to create a trading plan, which I have tons of tutorials on the channel to teach you for totally free, specifically using volume profiles, because I think it gives you the cleanest, roadmap for where price goes. Right, like right here, right. If you're long here from the value area low, what is the plan for that trade, right? Well, we know that the high probability fill of the volume profile, or we know that the fill of the volume profile is very high probability, right? Long the low, get back into the range. At this point, the POC is the next major target or a high probability place for price to get attracted to. Not just because it's a magic level or it's just like you're guessing where this level is. It's because it is the highest area of volume, right? It's the area where the most volume was transacted. These high volume nodes act as magnets. Price seeks out these levels. So once you get back in here, right, you can look at it as like a failed auction, right? Price fails to trade at cheaper levels. This is cheap price, right? Because based off the relative price action, right, this is the fair value. This is under the fair value. This is cheap. This is where you want to be looking for bounces. You get back into the range. Once you get back into the fair value, price is going to go to the fairest price, which is the point of control of the range. So what happens? You get back into the range. Gravitated to the POC, there's your TP1, flip the POC, you look to go to the value area high, there's your TP2. Deviate above, you can then look for shorts. Get back into the range, highest probability area for price to go, POC, lose the POC, back to the low, right? TP1, TP2, right? So it gives you beautiful, beautiful trading plans. So there you go. It's turned into a beginner's trading masterclass here. But there you go. Come on, Rudy. Come on, Rudy. Let's go, Rudy. Come on, baby. We're rooting for you, Rudy. Root for Rudy. Hashtag root for Rudy. We're starting a movement. Here. DGens don't believe in stop losses. 100x, 1000x, full port, and hope for the best. JK. Shout out to Fonzie. Let's go, bro. Let's go. And hey, I no hate against no stop loss, right? I don't do that, right? But hey, we're all adults. We can do what we want. If you want to gamble, we can gamble, right? To each his own. Shout out to Jose. He said, I had a brand new expensive gaming keyboard years ago that I knocked an entire tumbler of coffee over twice. Shout out to Jose. I have been using the same Razer mechanical keyboard since 2017. And I won't give it up. I can get any keyboard I want. I will not give this one up. This is good luck, this keyboard. And I, too, have spilled many cups of coffee on this keyboard. And it's still kicking, baby. It's still kicking. Give me $2,500 ETH, please. Shout out to Indian Martini. Let's go ahead and take a look at Ethereum real quick here. And let me go ahead and set some alerts here. Oh, there we go. Come on. Come on, Rudy. Come on, Rudy. Let's do it, baby. Let's do it. Crack the highs for Rudy. Money flow crossing into the green on the 3-minute. There we go, Rudy. Come on, Rudy. Let's go. Let's go. Rudy's up. Rudy's up. Come on, Rudy. Shout out to Dave Digital, said Frankie Candles only gambles with loaded dice. That is right. And the loaded dice is called the volume profile, baby. Let's go. Root for Rudy. Hashtag root for Rudy. Yeah, we'll check Solana as well. But yeah, let's just jump into Ethereum real quick. Oh, wait, hang on. Let me just, okay, everybody calm down. What is going on? What is going on here? We're stuck. We're stuck here on this tab. Let me just set an alert here a little bit above this high. Come on, Rudy. We're rooting for you. All right, let's see here. Let's take a look at Ethereum real quick. Let's take that volume profile off the chart. All right, so these are all old. And as you can see, right, levels do get, somewhat respected here. Daily MPOC tap, little bounce, obviously doesn't hold as Bitcoin wasn't holding. So we could take this off. Golden pocket, daily MPOC melted through, back down to the value area low, biggest key level for Ethereum. And, as we see Bitcoin back down toward its macro value area low, I know this is looking messy at this point. Not shocking to see Ethereum back down here as well. I would say the same thing, right? Medium time frame. Your money flow is coming out on your 3-hour red dot incoming, 4-hour red dot potentially looking to print here. Still plenty of time for this to kick back up, but your money flow is coming out. This is just indicative of a continuation of the downtrend, right? Money flow crosses green, you continue your uptrend, right? Money flow indicates the trend continuation, right? Not the ebbs and flows, right? You can get pullbacks. Right? But the trend is identified by the money flow. Using it as a filter on whether you should be longing the lows for higher highs to come, or if you should be shorting the highs for lower lows to come, right? Trend down, money flow red. Trend up, money flow green. Beautiful filter, right? This is like one of the backbones of the trend identification here in my analysis. So, and you can see, right, nice green wave, nice continuation up as you start to hit your major key level of resistance. Come on, Rudy. Let's go, Rudy. Let's go, baby. Hit that golden pocket. Where's Rudy? Rudy, come on, baby. Let's go. We got this for you, bro. We got this, Rudy. Come on, Rudy. Hit that golden pocket, Rudy. You got this, baby. You got this. Come on. Don't front run that golden pocket on our boy. Come on, Rudy. Come on, Rudy. Let's go. Hit it. There it is, baby. Let's go, Rudy. Right into the POC, baby. Volume profiles for the win. W's in the chat for Rudy. Come on, Rudy. We're here for you, bro. We got your back, Rudy. Right into that point of control, baby. Come on. Throw some love in the chat for Rudy, man. That's what I'm talking about. Let's go. Come on, baby. Come on. When we set that Rudy alert, we hit his targets for him. Come on, Bubba. Let's go. Push, Rudy, push. W's in the chat for Rudy. Come on, baby. Rudy, please tell me you're still holding that position, brother. Please tell me you're still in that. Come on. That's what we're talking about here, Rudy. TP1 hit. Let's go. Brillo, are you in the trade too? Let's go. Are we going to hit that 786? Come on. Send it to the 786, baby. Send it to the 786. Jose says, don't ever let him shake you out of a good trade, Rudy. Come on, baby. Rudy Tooty, fresh and fruity, baby. Let's go. Win, baby, win. Smash that like button for Rudy, man. Come on. Can we get him that 786? Can we get him the 786? Can we get him the 786? Come on, send him the 786. Send him to the 786 right now. Marry me, Rudy. Shout out to Mark Dutch. Come on. I'm so happy that happened. Shout out to Rudy, man. Come on. Can he hit the 786? Should we pull up the 1 second time frame? Oh, man. 1 second money flow coming out, Rudy. It's not looking good. I'm just kidding, brother. It's the 1 second time frame. Rudy loves the 1 second analysis, too. It's his favorite. Come on, baby. Come on. Take some profits, Rudy. Not financial advice. I would take some profits if I was here. Hit the 786. Let's get him to 786 at least. I'm in it too. Let's go, Rudy. Come on. Jenny's in it too. Come on, baby. Come on. Making a little bit of money. Come on. Let's go. Hit that 786. Hit it for our boy. Come on. Let's go. Hit it for our boy. Come on. Do it. You're so close. You're so close there. Don't do that. Don't do that. Come on. Come on, Rudy. We're going to hit that for you, bro. We're going to get that for you. Me too. Shout out to Carrie. Let's go. Carrie Desant. I don't know how to say that name. Shout out to you. Just TP'd. Shout out to Yarbroke. Let's go. Gen Z in the chat. Welcome in, brother. Welcome in. Let's go. We hit it. Did we hit it? Make sure I have that hit accurate, pulled accurately here. All right, so let me hide the bigger range here. So what do we say here, guys? If this does not prove the theory of the volume profiles for you, I'm not special, guys. Well, in some ways I am, but come on, hit that set. Give me the full tap of that. Come on, hit it for our boy. Don't do that. Give it to him. Give it to him. Come on, don't tease. Don't make me break out the magnets. Let's make sure I have this pulled. Yeah, we're locked in there. Come on, hit it for our boy. Come on. Come on, hit it for him. Do it. Why did it not trigger our alert here? Our alert was a little higher. No. Is she going to hit it? We need the alert. We need the alert. I mean, hey, we got the magnetic value area high above that level, too. Could just kind of suck it right through, you know? Just a little. Phoebe thinks you're special. I'll always be special in Phoebe's eyes. Let's see here. Did she tap? Am I alert? Oh, yeah, she did tap. Let's go. Shout out to Rudy. She did tap. My alert must have just been a little tick higher than that, but there it is. Tap of the 786, baby. Come on. I take these brushes off, too. But, you know, guys, why do we look for this, right? Like, this is free sauce on how we read the price action in real time. Scrub back to 2 p.m. No, scrub back to 5 minutes ago, like 7 minutes ago. Flip the value area low, next highest probability target, POC, Golden Pocket Confluence. Flip the Golden Pocket, POC, next highest probability target, 786, value area high. We'll see if we hit the value area high, too. That would just be insanely, like, perfect explainer there. But how do we know that's going to happen? Well, I guess at the end of the day, we didn't really know, right? But we knew it was high probability, right? When I say high probability, right, we know it's because of the volume profile, right? That's how you trade the volume profiles right there. Shout out to Rudy. Rudy, did we hit TP2? Did we hit TP2? Tariff news? When did the tariff news come out? I would love to know. No more tariffs. Okay. That's interesting. I would love to know if that came in before 221 or after 221. I would love to know. There it is. Value area high tapped. On the candle. On the 227 candle. We'll go on the 1 minute. Did it happen on the 227 candle, or did it happen, I believe we were looking at 220. How crazy would that be if we saw that happening before the news? Reading it on the volume profiles. Insane. Literally right before the 227 candle. Wild. Like right when we flip this value area low. Very interesting. Very interesting. 7 minutes ago. All right. Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So look at that. Show me the charts. I'll tell you the news. Well, I can't tell you the news. I didn't know what the news would be. I didn't know there was going to be news. But very interesting. All right. And another thing to kind of look at here, which is also very interesting, is look at the lack of volume here. Right? Well, you got little high volume nodes here, but look at the high volume node, the magnet on price. Pretty decent gap. Right? So even getting above here opens the door to the POC. Right? Were we saying tariffs would open the door to the POC? No. Is it a coincidence? Guys, I don't know why that happens, right? Like, I wish I did. I'm glad this happened live, right? Because obviously I'm not looking at the news right now. And I don't have any secret insider info that news is going to come out. I'm joking. I really don't. But it just goes to show, right? This is why I pay attention to the news, right? I mean, why I don't trade the news. Just trade the charts. More often than not, you'll be on the right side of the news. Let's see. Truth Social post 227. All right, so that is confirmed after we were talking about the flip of the value area low. Wild stuff there. Shout out to Rudy. Rudy, are you an insider trader? If we flip this, I'm looking to open a new scalp to 92K. This is insane now. Shout out to Rudy. Hey, bro. And you were nervous. You were nervous. You're like, I don't know, man. What if it doesn't play out? I told you we got your back, bro. We gave you a little local analysis, and can't make it up. Can't make it up. I'll delete the lines. Magical lines. Couldn't be directly perfect on time there, but shape was almost perfect. Not that I ever, try to make the shape perfect, but wild stuff. ETH back to 3K. There we go. Nice little pop on ETH. So let me take a little bit of a larger. Oh, there we go. Come on. Pop her up. Let me just go ahead and take this stuff off the chart real quick. Take our Rudy alerts off. And right off the daily level as well. So let's pull up the macro profile here. And just to bring up, right, that 786. Right, we snap that 786. Flip it to support, right? Next major level to look at would be the $91,000 level that we looked at in the beginning of the stream, right? The big level of resistance. So this would be still the next big level to the upside would be looking at $91,000 to $92,000. POC 786. Where does it, Dean Mills says, where does it say tariffs have ended? I just checked the Truth Social, and it hasn't said it. Shout out to Dean. I wouldn't know because I wasn't looking at the news, but that's what they say. What's word on the street? Word on the street. Stonks pumping too. Big pump on the Stonkers. Daily money flow still looking kind of trashy on stocks right now. But, of course, that's going to take time to play out. So let's see here. Let's pull up the macro profile as well. I mean, to be honest, this is the, this is what you would hope to hold. And it is pretty crazy, right? Like, very exciting. Not that it can't turn into something bigger. But again, right, like, I know it gets exciting. We get amped. We were really amped for Rudy, but I mean, this is huge critical level to hold for the long term either way, right? Because as we were looking at earlier, right, we're like kind of hoping, with that daily money flow crossover into the green, right? Last week, big drop to the downside for the short, bounce off the value area, or looking for the higher lows and the higher highs. Why do we look for that? Because of the daily money flow. This is kind of the last place to look for that, right? Now, I'm not saying that we can't just, roll back around, take out the liquidity and all that. But, this would be a very, very important level to hold, right? Because let's just say we do have the daily money flow continuing into the green. Technically, the idea of a higher low, it's kind of the last place to look for it, to come in and start continue the bigger retracement, maybe up to the 50-week moving average, right? Like this would be like the more bullish kind of scenario into the 50-week, sitting at about 101K. Really wouldn't want to lose this, right? So it would be really nice. It would be like perfect timing for that news to come in here. Maybe give us the bigger pump. But we'll see. Still got the 4-hour money flow, crack into the downside, right? So it doesn't just totally change my overall view, but we'll see what happens here. Wow, good thing I was able to go live today. Shout out to Rudy, bro. Congratulations, man. Every pump just keeps getting killed off. Yeah, it's I mean, unfortunately, guys, I really was not. I was hoping to not be in the situation where we would just be back in this just like brutal chopped range. It is what it is. I mean, we're just still here. It's kind of brutal, kind of sucks, but 100% of Rudy rip. Rudy, I'm so happy, bro. I literally lit up inside for you, bro. And I love the now I'm going to feel like an idiot if it doesn't play out. I told you we got your back, bro. We got your back. Even if it didn't play out, we would have still had your back, bro. That's why earlier streams are way better. Shout out to Zinster? I don't know how to say that. But yeah, we got a little bit of pop there. We got a little bit of pop. We like it. I do, as I said, last week, it really is annoying, guys. Last week, I had all the internet provider issues. By the way, I got fiber. Fiber coming tomorrow, so that's over with. We're going to have faster internet, and hopefully it doesn't get interrupted all the time. So that'll be fixed tomorrow. But then this week starts, and I just start off with 105 fever. Like, come on. But we do want to kind of go live and just kind of narrate the price action and just do what we just did, right? Just kind of like narrate it live for you guys that are looking to learn and just kind of see how we like to, how we look for this price action to move, how we predict it. So you can actually learn it. I mean, you can see it live as we call it, but so you can actually learn, right? And make a little bit of money together. Please take it back to 95K. 95K, I mean, at the end of the day, let me just extend this profile a little bit. So I'm actually just going to keep that there. Let's pull our full fib here. And before we sign off, I'll give you guys all the major key levels here. Yeah, so you got your golden pocket coming into about 94K and then your 786. So yeah, between 94 and 95K would be the full golden pocket retracement. So just to keep it nice and simple here, overall, even if, right, this 4-hour money flow winds up standing up, right, or standing true to continue into the red, to continue an overall downtrend, could be open, right, for the full golden pocket 786 retracement, which does bring you into the 95,000s. Yeah. And at the end of the day, right, like the hope here, the bullish hope here, guys, is that, right, remembering last week, major resistance, short opportunity. This is the last level, really, in my opinion, to be looking to keep the doorway open, right? Because the thought is you got to be careful, right? Obviously, big drop down, wound up playing out. But until proven up, like this would turn into a swing. This would be looked at as, a shorter term trade down to key support until proven otherwise, right? Maybe it turns into a bigger swing. It's definitely possible with the golden pocket that we rejected up here. Maybe that turns into we get the breakdown from here, right? Because this is the first Fibonacci retracement. We still have the bigger levels up here, but with the daily money flow in the green, the idea of putting in a higher low and a higher high on the daily is still technically intact here, right? For the bigger retracement. Now, this doesn't really change my overall weekly view. This could eventually change if we wind up flipping some of the bigger key levels. We still have a lot of work to do here before it starts calling for all-time highs. But to kind of keep the thought process of a continued bigger retracement, it's daily money flow still technically open for a higher low, and this is kind of the last place to get that bounce. Once you start breaking down here, you start breaking structure, it invalidates that idea, and I think the bigger breakdown is likely to happen first. So those are kind of the two things here, right? Get the cool off. We can look for higher lows and higher highs. Losing these levels probably indicates that you're not going to see the continued retracement, and the breakdown will probably happen from here. But we'll see. Hopefully, we can just get the bigger retracement. That would be very nice. I'm expecting to pump to 102K before the continuation down to around 50K to complete the macro Elliott wave. I like that. Shout out to Spinner Trades. Yeah. Something like this, right? And actually, let me pull up our previous volume profile, right? So this locally, if we get back up in here, right, flip the POC, 101K, 101.2, 50-week moving average, also confluent with your 786. Right, 786 comes in at about 101.5, right? Maybe we come play around with these. Could still look like that, right? At the end of the day, I could draw out every scenario that could play out here, right? Technically, rejection of the golden pocket, valid for a lower low, right? If not, daily money flows in the green. If we get the higher high, this is still a valid place to look for the lower high, which comes in at around 102K. So, yeah, I would still agree with that being very valid. And that is still my long-term thesis, right? I know it gets exciting seeing those little pops to the upside, but that does not change the weekly outlook there. So, yeah, even up to about 103.4. That's the volume profile. Look at that candle, baby. Look at that dang candle. Up, down, up. Got your 24-minute money flow crossover into the green there starting. Could give you the continuation of the trend. We'll keep an eye on it. Will we see the $91,000 level tapped? Daily look at anchored VWAP projecting from 83K wick. I don't know exactly what you mean by that. But we'll see. Yeah, things I still don't like. 4-hour money flow crossover into the red. Yeah, 5-hour money flow in the red. It's really this daily, man. This daily. Is this going to allow us to get the higher low? Literally by the skin of your teeth there. Front ran the golden pocket there. Let's see. Maybe on non-log you tapped it. Yeah, just barely tapped the non-log. But either way, you hit the daily and the weekly too, so not even really missing that level of support there. Got the bull divs. So we'll see. See if we can tap this $91,000 golden pocket. Push it, baby. Push it. All right, let's see. XRP pumping hard. Well, that's good. Because there we go. Approaching the major key level. This $2 value area low is absolutely critical to flip. Because, again, that would open the door back up to the POC. Of course, you'll have local resistance on the way. But just like back here, right? Saved it by the skin of our teeth here on that 786, right? We tapped it, send it back in, flip the value area low back to the POC. Be the same outlook here. Back above the value area low, push it back up to the POC. And, of course, you will have local resistance along the way. 16 hours still not looking good either. Well, 16-hour green dot is looking to print. Money flow is still not looking great for overall continuation of the trend. But that green dot could definitely help a bigger pop up if we can get it to print. Shout out to Mark Dutch, said last chance to get out of your terrible spot bags, not financial advice. Shout out to Mark Dutch. Perry says just in 135 million worth of crypto shorts liquidated in the past 10 minutes. Man, I'll go ahead and load up Exo charts here real quick. We could take a look at Solana as well. Let Exo charts load up on the side there. Yeah, Solana bouncing off the value area low as well. Major key level. So this is also very similar to Bitcoin, what we were looking at on Solana, right? Daily money flow crossing into the green. With the sweep of the highs here that we looked at, right? We said hold above the value area low, push into the POC. Don't be surprised if you get a sweep of those highs and resistance at the point of control, right? Resistance does resistance sometimes. But if we do get the pullback, right, where are you going to be looking for a higher low before a potential higher high if that money flow can stay green, which it is fighting for its life here, right here on the golden pocket, 786. So this would be the place to hope for that higher low. So 30-minute money flow crossing green, 8-hour green dot confirmed. Again, this money flow still doesn't look good. This money flow still doesn't look good on the 8-hour. Again, like this isn't going to change throughout the extent of this stream, but just in general, right? Like you got to keep in mind that this money flow is still trending out. Yeah, 2-day green dot, or 2-day VWAP trying to roll back up. 3-day red dot printing, 4-day red dot printing. We don't have blood diamonds here, do we? That would be brutal. No blood diamonds. That's nice. Let me just check the Heikinashi can. Ugh. Yeah, so you got the 4-day red dot, or 4-day blood diamond printing on your Heikinashis. Weekly red dot. Yeah. We'll see. We'll see what happens. But definitely, you know, this is where you would want the bounce if you're looking for a higher low to hold here on Solana when looking at the daily. So we'll see if that daily green dot can print, money flow can continue up. Definitely a possibility there that you could hold a higher low before eventually coming up to these higher targets and putting in a higher high. Major target up here at the golden pocket would be $168 to about $172. And, of course, the POC, staying above your value area low, does remain open at about $145.92. Where'd chat go? Yeah, fourth option. Just follow Rudy. Let's go, Rudy. Rudy, we didn't know you were going to front run the news like that, brother. What about all the liquidity at 85 to 84K? Still sits down there. If I were wanting to swing trade spot soul bags, where would I sell? 140 to 145. That depends. It depends on where I'm holding the spot bags from. I mean, what I can tell you is on the way up, right? If you're able to make it to that POC, it'd be major resistance, right? Get above that, your next major level would be at the golden pocket between $168 and $172. But that's kind of a loaded question because, like, I wouldn't like my spot bags are looked at as like long-term positions. My average entry in Solana is like $30. So hard to say without knowing, like, you know, entry plan. But I would say like the major swing levels, like I would say POC at 145 is still major resistance. But at this point, if that money flow, it really also depends, right? If like we can approach this level and that money flow is cooking to the upside on the daily, well, I would expect to probably take out this high. And at that point, your next major target would be up here between 168 and 172. Of course, no guarantees, right? Not financial advice. But I would say those are the next like major targets. Follow the volume profile. Shout out to Nicholas. If the live narration there on that local volume profile down here is not evidence to learn volume profiles, I don't know what is. Right? Sometimes obviously we talk about the volume profiles. We check in on it the next day, almost every single time. Right? They're at our next targets or headed towards the next targets or barely front running the target or whatever it is. But like that profile, literally, I pulled live. I was just. Rudy just happened to say that he took a scalp long and he was worried about it. And I said, well, hey, man, let's take a look at it. Pulled the local profile, found the local profile, which was, right here, right? Flip the value area low. POC is next. Flip the POC value area high is next, right? So we said, we don't hate that, bro. Like, we're going to root for you. We set the alerts, and literally in real time, we flipped the value area low, went straight to the POC, straight to the value area high. So that's how quick you could kind of find it. And a lot of people say, where do you pull your volume profiles from? It's so hard for me to say, like, pull it from exactly this candle to this candle, right? Like, if you just see, like, what I see a little bit of balance here, right? So I just pull the range, right? And again, now it's moved a little bit because we got the big pump, right? But at the time, it was to here. So it's like, we also had the anchored VWAP, right? It didn't even start with the volume profile, right? I just pulled the anchored VWAP and said, well, hey, like, if we could flip this anchored VWAP, here's some key levels I'd look at above, right? Flip that anchored VWAP, we could open the door to the golden pocket in the 786, right? We had the money flow on the 24-minute coming up, which was on his side with the 8-hour green dot confirmed. And then I say, well, hey, yeah, let's see, like low, high. All right, let me pull a little profile here. Oh, look at that. Flip of the anchored VWAP would also flip the value area low. If I look at it from a value area perspective, flip the value area low, POC is next. Well, look at that. The golden pocket is right in confluence with the POC. 786 is right in confluence with the value area high, making a very clear trading plan. And then moments later, we just see it fly right through. So, like, that's, I don't know how else to, like, that's how you do it. Just show it live, right? So hopefully someone's learned, right? Hopefully we've been able to, like, kind of educate a little bit, show you guys how we look at the price action live, how it can play out. Now, of course, it's not always going to play out 100% like that, but, more often than not, right? Like, why would I be willing to even say that was likely? Well, it's because I trust in the volume profiles. I've seen this play out 100 times. If you learned something, smash that dang like button, guys. Push us out into the algorithm. The crypto universe needs it. Shout out to Darren, says, when would you TP? Shout out to Darren. It depends on what you mean. When would I TP on a long? Well, both those TPs have already been hit. So at that point, shout out to Rudy, just to kind of like help you along there. Shout out to Rudy, man. He just like held his hand on that whole thing. So at this point, right, you could essentially stop loss to break even, profits locked in, guaranteed winning trade. You could just wait to see if you get that golden pocket. If it decides to just nuke back down, well, guess what? You stopped out in beautiful 2 TPs. Stopped out in profit, guaranteed winning trade. If it decides to cook up towards the golden pocket, well, hey, let that winner run, right? You could just hold that, let it trail it up, right? SFP on the 1 hour. I do not have an SFP on the 1 hour. Maybe a higher time frame. Yeah, 2 hour SFP confirmed. 1 hour got the candle closures below. Still could be an SFP, right? Like, it's not always going to be super perfect. Not what I like to see. But 2 hour for sure. Confirmed. Look at this price action. It's nuts. Shout out to Life is Short, said, what is the volume profile indicator called? This is called the fixed range volume profile. It's just a trading view tool. I don't even know if I'd call it an indicator. It's more of a tool. All it does is measure where the volume, all the volume is transacted, and it measures where that volume is transacted, right? So it's just on TradingView. Come down to projection, fixed range volume profile. You can check the tutorials on the channel in the beginner series. Shows you exactly how I use them personally. SFP of the top. Just absolute chaos. But we front ran the high here, at least on the Bybit chart. Maybe you swept it on something else. Maybe on the Binance chart. But I do not have an SFP of the high there, at least on the 1 hour. Or maybe you're just saying, could we get one? Maybe. But again, yeah, you got your money flow coming up here. Shout out to Proud Gun Owner, says Trump says tariffs not ending, price dumps again. Shout out I don't know if you're saying he's saying that. That would be out of control if he just said that. We live in a dystopia if that's the case. Dave said you're just a TradingView tool. It's much more than a TradingView tool. It's a life-changing tool. But yeah. Shout out to Brenny, says, why are my MPOCs from your MPOC video always different than yours? And are there any new MPOCs? Shout out to Brenny. The one thing that you might be getting different MPOCs from is if you're looking at a different chart. Like if you're looking at a Binance chart or something, I look at the Bybit USD chart. Other things that can change that is I also look at EXO charts, naked points of controls, which are slightly different. So that could be another thing that changes it. And the other thing is it's very important that you're doing it correctly. Like when you mark off, I'm sure you are, when you mark off your daily MPOCs, you got to make sure that you are looking at the daily chart. So like these are your daily naked points of controls, right? And then go to the weekly. Those are your weekly MPOCs. I assume you're doing that correctly. So there's a couple things that can make it different. You could be looking at a different exchange, or some of my MPOCs are pulled from EXO charts, which are slightly different than the TradingView MPOCs as well. Doesn't mean that the TradingView MPOCs aren't important. I just prefer to get most of my MPOCs from EXO charts because it pulls live data from the exchanges. They tend to be a little bit more accurate. But I wouldn't fret too much over that. I look at most of the time. I'll look at both of them. But that might be some reason why you're seeing a little bit of a difference there. I want to say they're more accurate, but at the end of the day, right? Like I don't want to I would just stick to the TradingView MPOCs. If you have EXO charts, you can go by the EXO charts MPOCs. But at the end of the day, listen, sometimes price is going to reject a TradingView MPOC, and it's going to front run the EXO charts MPOC, and sometimes it's going to hit the EXO charts MPOC and front run the TradingView MPOC. Sometimes the TradingView and the EXO charts MPOCs are like right next to each other, right? So I wouldn't fret too much over it. But that just might be why you're seeing some kind of variance. Probably what you're seeing are some of my EXO charts MPOCs that are just slightly different, because you can actually change the tick size on EXO charts. Do I think we could short squeeze to 94K before the end of the month? Yeah, I mean, definitely possible with that daily money flow in the green. So, and I'll give you guys like a basic overview of kind of what I'm looking at before we sign off. We'll just see if we can get a little more volatility here with that little pop. So let's see here. All right, so I had a decent amount of shorts come in at the high. Pretty decent drop in open interest. So you definitely got some shorts cooked there on that push to the upside. Let me actually see something here. Come on. Check the Frankie Candles Essentials volume profile. Yeah, so for anybody new, right, if you want to learn about volume profiles, this is a free indicator. There's no strings attached. Made this in collaboration with Lux Algo. It's 100% free. Just search my name, Frankie Candles, on TradingView. You'll see it pop up. But this could really help you learn, right? Frankie Candles Essentials by Lux Algo. It's got 3.5K downloads. Make sure it's by Lux Algo. And this kind of helps you understand, like, how you would trade these volume profiles. And I just wanted to see if this would give you a setup on that lower time frame kind of situation that we were looking at before with Rudy, right? And it pretty much did, right? I could actually pull this back a little bit more, I believe. So you have the what this does is, right, it's just a simple volume profile as you would typically use from TradingView, but it gives you those added indications, right? It gives you, lets you know when you're seeing those actual bullish confirmations below the low. By letting you know, like, hey, you're getting bullish divergences here. That's what this line is marking out. And then it prints that sauce can, letting you know that those bullish confirmations are happening outside of the value area, right? Because you would look at this as undervalued price. This is where you want to see those bullish confirmations to look to take along back into the range, flip the value area low, back to the POC, back to the high for that full rotation of that volume profile. And it did give you that bullish indication. I was just kind of curious for myself to see if that would set up there. It's going to change this to market cipher B. Give us on the market cipher B. I did. There's your lower lows. There's your higher lows. There's your sauce can, letting you know those confirmations are printing outside of the value area. And then the idea there is, again, you don't excuse me, you don't want to use this as a just like a signal, right? I would never say just trade this as a buy and sell indicator, but it could actually help you learn when you're going to be looking for those positions, right? And then you get back in. The goal there, I mean, you had a pretty decent move there of, over 1% to the value area low. Sometimes I'll take an early TP there and then look to flip the value area low into the POC, into the high. So you can check that out. Again, totally for free. Literally no kickback on that at all. Literally a free tool that help you learn. Literally, you could pull it up on your chart right now and follow along. Oh, God, the voice is starting to go. Let's see. K Diggity in the chat said, "Hi, Phoebe." Hey, K. Phoebe misses you, K Diggity. Shout out to K Diggity in the chat. Jesse said she was screaming, K Diggity. I had to calm her down since the beginning. It was so sad she kept crying. Yeah, she's been whining for you, K Diggity. She misses you. She misses you. I'll tell you to give her a call tonight. If you don't know who Phoebe is, she's my pet goat. But anyway. Shout out to PV. He said, greetings from Austria. Hey, shout out to you, brother. Says, question, what is the exact name of your volume waves? Thanks for the content and help. No problem, brother. I don't know if you're talking about the volume profile. It's just a fixed range volume profile. It's in TradingView. It's just a tool within TradingView. But if you're talking about these, this is Market Cipher B. This is a paid indicator, though. This should be free in TradingView. I never know. I don't know if you need a paid version of TradingView or not to get that. I don't think you do. I think you should be able to get this on the free version. But if not, you might. If you do need to pay for TradingView, you only need the lowest subscription. You don't need any advanced one. But you should be. I think you should get it for the free version. I'm pretty sure. But there you go. And you can check the tutorials out on the channel to get, because if you pull this on default settings, it's not going to look like mine. Right, it's going to look like this, and you're not going to have the value area high or the value area low or anything like that. So you do have to change some settings, but you can check out the tutorial. It's very simple. You just have to activate the value area high and the value area low. All right, so let's take a look here. Let's pull that volume profile again. And I'm actually going to pull this back to before that push to the upside. All right, so the hope here, if we continue down, is like you really don't want to lose this point of control, at least for the continuation up. So let's see. Come down here. Really want to hold on top of that and get out of here because you don't want to lose this 786. Because the idea here is you really want to flip that 786 to snap the high. If we start coming down towards this POC, start to get accepted back into the range, you could end up rejecting the 786, in which case I'd be looking back down towards that value area low. You don't really have any bearish divergences up here or anything, so not super worried, but we'll see. Don't want to hang out in here too long. Fixed range is free, visible range is paid. Shout out to Joe Mama. That is the case. Yes. So yeah, luckily, I mean, the visible range is awesome. But yeah, fixed range is the main tool that I like to use. So that's free. That's good. Better off that way. Shout out to Joe Mama. Thank you for that. Shout out to Limitless, says search VMC and indicators for a free version of Market Cipher. Yeah, it's not the same. It's like a clone. Not to say that the free indicator is useless at all, but it is different. The one thing that is different, it's very close. The one thing that is different on any of the free versions is the money flow, which is obviously one of the most important aspects of it. Again, not to say that you can't use it or it's not useful. It's just different. They just calculate the money flow a little bit differently. So you'll probably, if you do use that, you will see that there's going to be times where you might see a money flow crossover where I am not seeing a money flow crossover. The reason for that is it's a different indicator. Again, not to say that it's not bad or you can't use it or anything like that. It's just different. So if you see any like discrepancies there, that would be why. I've actually pulled them up together to compare. They're pretty close, but money flow does get a lot different, and that's one of the main signals that I look at. Rudy, you still here? So could you give it one more push up? Thanks in advance. Shout out to Mark Dutch. Rudy, are you still in here, bro? Rudy, we should have put Rudy on the thumbnail. Shout out to Bruno, says, I'm from Brazil and I'd like to ask, ask you here. Many YouTubers say that XRP is the darling of America. And we know that the U.S. has a lot of influence. What do you really think about XRP? I mean, I like XRP. I am not somebody that thinks XRP is going to $10,000 or anything like that. It's probably a lot of the narratives that you see on YouTube is like XRP to $7,000. I am not in that camp. I do hold a lot of XRP. But yeah, I don't, I'm not a XRP to 10K. Definitely not one of those guys. When Rudy Lux algo indicator. Shout out to Rudy. Come on, baby. We gotta hit up Sean from Lux Algo. Get our boy Rudy an indicator. Silver looks like it may want to go down. We could take a look at silver. Shout out to Financially Wit, says awesome insight as always. Shout out to you, brother. Welcome in. Thank you for being here. Silver's got the runs. Let's see. Oh, baby. I mean, obviously, this thing's on a mega bull run here. But yeah, let's take a look here at the daily. Yeah, a little bit of a daily bear div confirmed. 2-day bearish divergence printing. Yeah, look at that 12-hour money flow spank into the upside. Yeah, 10-hour. Yeah, you got some red dots printed here on the medium time frames as well. Could try to. I'm just gonna pull these up, Heikinashi. All right, so let's take a look here. So where were we? Yeah, so the next big target to the upside, I'm not saying this is guaranteed, has to be hit or anything, but if we do continue up between about 105 and 121 would be the next big zone to look at. Yeah, if you get a bigger pullback here, I would say let's pull. Whoops. I would watch 82.82 to 78.02 zone. If that daily bear div and 2-day bear div decides to give you a little bit more of a correction, that would help. That would be nice for Bitcoin to maybe get another little pop to the upside. But this would be the next zone I would be personally looking at. And those are higher time frame levels. Come on down to a little bit of a lower time frame. I mean, this is hard to. Can I get something that's not going to give me that brutal. Yeah. Just get a. Yeah, it's gonna be. That would probably be the next main zone I'd be looking at. Yeah, it's confluent with this kind of wonked out value area as well, up at the high. Anchor VWAP will move over time, by the way. So that is not going to stay there. But that would be the golden pocket I would watch. So I would say I'll leave that anchored VWAP unmarked. That is pulled here from the low at about $70.10. But I would say this would be the fib I would look at. 82.4 to 82.40 to 78.53. Something I would look at on silver. Take a look at gold as well. Get some confluence on this. Fixed range and golden pocket. Okay. This would be I don't know if you're going to get a full pullback to here, but if you did, this would be an area of interest between 42.82 and 42.08. Let's mark this profile out. Then a little bit more of a local level here. Get more confluence on that golden pocket value area high. Got another level sitting right about here. Between 45.15 and 44.80. So there's some levels on gold. But money flow here just still thick in the green. So you got to keep that in mind. Weekly money flow still coming up. So, still looks pretty strong in my opinion. Here comes the panic. Gold's pulling back too. Let's pull Bitcoin back up. All right. Headed towards that POC. The M forming is wild on Bitcoin. Shout out to Gen Z, said ETH was supposed to be the gold price. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, man. What was the top on ETH again? Yeah, almost 5K. She almost got there. Hey, did Rudy ever check back in? Did Rudy? Oh, there's Rudy. I'm still here. I'm watching if we can flip this to make a new long. Oh, shout out to Rudy. Are you out completely? Let's go. Great trade, Rudy. Great trade. Even if you needed some encouragement, we got you. We got you. I like those live targets pulled up. That's fun. I like doing that. That's kind of what I want to do a little bit more in 2026. Go live with the Mafia and just cover the live price action. It's looking for a little bit of a change. A little bit of a change, like live price action narration and trading, right? More often than not, I do like to take the trades with the premium Discord. We're already in the positions before I'm live, but I kind of like to narrate that, right? This is never financial advice. You should never do what I think is going to happen on price. I know the example that we just have with that volume profile is people are going to be like, dang, next time he does that. But it's never financial advice, guys. You should never just listen to some guy on YouTube. But I think it's I do it for education, right? To help you guys understand why we make these, why we look for these moves, and just to show you how it plays out, right? And we'll see things not play out as well, so that'll be helpful as well to understand that it doesn't always play out, and you have to manage the risk. But it's so much harder. Just to go live with some kind of big narrative, especially in these sideways choppy situations. It's how many times can we be is it a macro high or low? Are we going to this high target? If price goes sideways, it's just really hard to make content daily. And for someone who enjoys going live every day, it's not even people might just be well, don't stream every day. I like to stream every day, but it just gets so repetitive sometimes going over those longer term kind of narrative driven live streams. Just kind of go live during the day and cover the live price action, right? Even if price is going sideways, we can catch those little moves on the lower time frames. It's much more exciting. It's much more entertaining. It keeps me alive. And I know a lot of people have probably been wanting that from me for a really long time, rather than just talking about stuff, checking back in on it. Although, almost always plays out as well. I think a lot of people are, the big question a lot of people have is I get your concepts, I get your analysis style, I get your strategies, but when I'm in the moment, I don't know what to do. I get so nervous, and that's why I like to cover this. It's that's exactly how I look at it, right? When I say look to flip the value area low, go to the high, it's it is just that. Let's see. You're gonna learn today. Shout out to Neon Visuals. Great content. Plus you help premium too. Yeah, shout out to Gen Z. Yeah, that's true as well. Because a lot of the times, we might get a move during the day, and it's easier to be live and talk about that than typing. It's sometimes I see trade setups and I'll set it all up. I'll go to hit enter, and it's the trade plays out, and I'm I can't even send that now. Shout out to Matt, said, hey, appreciate you a lot. Need to learn this. Shout out to Matt. I appreciate you, bro. Subscribe to the channel, man. We're here. We're here daily. I mean, other than, when I have 105 fever and my internet doesn't work. I'm here pretty much every single day, every single weekday. So, yeah, we're here. Let's see. ETH gonna just moon. Shout out to Teresa. Shout out to Teresa. I hope so. That'd be nice. Shout out to Indy Martini. Said, okay, Frankie, I'm short ETH from 3,050. Root for my full TP at 28.75. Indian Martini. Let's go. All right, let's see. Short 3,050. Nice entry, bro. Nice entry. All right. Let's do it. Let's do it. So we got Indian Martini. Short 3,050. His stop loss is above the high. If it's not, it should be. I'm just kidding. Not financial advice. Let's send it down towards the point of control. Let's get the point of control in here. And Indian, I'm going to go ahead and say that's probably going to be. I knew that was going to be the case. That's going to be if you can get down here, that's going to be a big TP right there. That's the only thing here. Oh no. Don't do this to me, internet. Don't do this to me. Okay. Let's see that 4 hour. Yeah, 4 hours still. Yeah, 1 hour rolling over. Let's just take a quick look at this. All right, so All right, so the shout out to Indy Martini. Only thing I don't love about the 28.75 target here is the 24-minute money flow crossing into the green, right? This money flow coming up, indicating the trend could continue to the upside, right? Meaning low, high, higher low, higher high. So you got to be careful of this kind of scenario. This would be major, major take profit zone if you can make it down here. See where that anchored VWAP's popping up? Right in there, right? So, again, not financial advice. You should not copy what I'm saying. So I'm just going to talk about this from the perspective of me. For me, if price comes down here, I would be taking profit pretty significantly. And the reason for that, it doesn't mean I can't hold a portion of that trade for a potential continuation down. But with this 24-minute money flow crossover into the green with your 8-hour green dot printing, does indicate that you could get a little bit more of a continuation of that trend. So I would personally be a little bit cautious in this zone between about 29.73 and 29.44. So we'll see if we can get down here. Come on, Indian Martini, we're rooting for you, bro. We're rooting for you. I would be a little careful with the money flow, though. So we'll see if that 15-minute red dot prints, if we can get that little push down here. And then this could be a valid place to put in a higher low. This would be a good place to lock in for a potential higher high. And if not, guess what? Stop loss to break even. You could let the rest run. Or I would let the rest run. So we'll see if we can get that to play out. Guys, did I tell you? I don't know how I didn't say this. Well, I kind of got sick. Guys, so some of you guys know, I just recently got another car. 2025 GR Supra. I had it for a week and a half. And I'm driving the other day. And I'm just driving next to a BMW SUV. And they just decided they were going to put their directional on, their blinker on, which was shocking where I live. They don't like to use their blinkers. They just kind of decide to like shut their eyes and turn the wheel. I see the directional come on. And I just blast my horn. Blasting my horn, which on the Supra is an embarrassing horn. Guys, the horn on the Supra is hilarious. It's like, fee. It's so funny. Blasting my horn. Just eyes closed, rams into the side of my car. The Supra has been compromised, guys. A week and a half in. I have never been in like an actual car accident. Thank God. So I was like kind of like my first car. Like I've like, people have backed into me in parking lots and stuff. Like I've never just been in like a real car accident where you have to like pull over and call the cops. Just drove directly into my car. The damage is minimal. It's ceramic coated and it's got like PPF on the side. So it is damaged. But you can't believe it. I can't believe it. It's just like I had the car for a week and a half and I'm just driving normal. I'm like not even doing anything crazy. They just drove into me. I don't know how people drive 4,000-pound pieces of machinery and just don't look where they're going. I don't understand it. It makes no sense to me. So yeah, sad news. I didn't get to break that to you guys because I got sick. Supra's been compromised. Again, it's like pretty minimal damage, but super upsetting. And the cop was like, the cop pulled up, and I'm sitting outside. The lady was very nice, but not a good driver. Doesn't make her a good driver. The cop was like, he pulled up, and he goes, dang, man, because I still have, like, the dealer plates on there. And he goes, dang, man. He goes, how long you had this? And I was like, a week and a half. And he goes, what year is it? I was like, 2025. He's like, damn. He's just shaking his head. He's like, this thing's nice, bro. I was like, thanks, man. And she was at full fault. He said, he's like, yeah, I got her for improper lane change. She was a nice lady. I'm not gonna hit her over the head if I don't have to, but for the repairs or anything. But yeah, it's always the new car. I've been driving for I don't know how many years. I started driving when I was 16. I mean, legally driving when I was 16. I was driving before that, not on the road, but yeah, man. Unbelievable. And she goes, I saw the, you know what I think it was? She was in an SUV, and obviously the Supra's super low to the ground. And I kind of get it. I mean, maybe she looked out the window and she didn't even see me there. But she goes, I saw the indicator thing, my blind spot indicator going off, but I didn't see anything, so I just went. And I'm like, say that again. You saw your blind spot indicator that shows you where you can't see, and you just went anyway? The whole point of it is if there's something there you can't see, it lets you know. And she just hit me. So sad. She was a nice lady, though. Anyway. Sounds super upsetting. Liberty. Too soon, bro. It's a good joke. That's a good joke. Shout out to Joe Mama. Said, I was thinking about you, bro. When I was sick. I was like, I got to check my Discord DMs. He said, check your dang Discord messages. Also, someone backed into my sister's 68 Camaro, too. Dang, man. Dang. So, yeah, absolutely brutal. Absolutely brutal, man. But it's all good. It's all good. I can still drive it. I got minor repairs. My rim's all messed up. It was Tony D. Give it away to the premium Discord, Frankie. It's scratched. It's tainted. Somebody else take it. No, I'm just kidding. 4 hours short on BTC with stop loss at 90,641. Shout out to Taylor Murphy. Let's see. Oh, there you go. POC holding that support. Look at that. Again, magnetic nature of that POC. Still going to drop some pictures of the Super in the Discord. I'll have to show you the non-damage side now. I really do feel crazy complaining about it. The damage is pretty minor. As long as my suspension and everything is all good, I'm happy. I'll just fix it. No problemo. I do kind of just want to get another one, though, because it feels tainted. It's brand new. All right, so holding the POC. We got to get out of this volume profile because, again, we don't want to get stuck under this 786. In order to break the high, that 786 is the level to stay above. If we wind up getting stuck under this 786, can't break out of the volume profile, that's not going to look as good. But if we can sneak out of here, could take out that high. Let's see if we can do it. Shout out to Jay Smith said, when car picks, wait, too soon. Shout out to Jay Smith. Yeah, I mean, honestly, most of the damage, as long as there's no internal damage, I got to get it checked out. Most of the damage is really to the rim because it's so small. Like, she was in an SUV. It was like a BMW SUV. I think mostly her tire hit me. So she just, like, hit me and bounced off. So it could be a decent situation. So I can't complain too much. Car insurance, yes, I do have car insurance. Why didn't you hit the brakes instead of the horns? I hit both. But it was just too late. She just swerved into me. Actually, I may have lucked out because where she hit me, she almost like hit me. She hit me right on the wheel well. So she hit me like tire against my wheel and wheel well. So yeah. What I should have done is just, and I was on a bridge too. So it's like I would have just swerved, but I couldn't. I was just up against the wall on the bridge, and I figured the damage from her would be less than flying off the bridge. But what I should have done is just locked up the brakes completely. But then I don't know, man. She might have hit the front. Might have been worse. But it is what it is. Sorry that happened to you, Frankie. I get the taintedness. It would make me want another one as well. Yeah, it's just like it had the new car. It's like I'm just always gonna know, even if it's back to brand new. I'm just gonna know, man. It's just like it's banged around in there. But that's okay. I don't plan on keeping that that car anywhere near stock for much longer anyway. So I'll get like lowering springs and all that. So I'll be replacing all that anyway. I want that thing to be as close to illegal on the street as possible. Early stream leads to much longer streams, 2 hours and counting. There we go. 2 hours and 24 minutes live here with the Mafia. And to be honest, it's a little easier for me to go super long during the day because I'm not like at the end of my day. I could go for 4 hours today and still end my day a lot sooner. It is a lot better for my life. This schedule as well. Upgrade the horn for sure. I gotta upgrade that horn just because it's embarrassing. You could just like Google. I think it's all supers. I don't even think it's just my year. You just Google super horn. It's hilarious. It's hilarious. I'm just gonna start revving the engine because it's louder and less fruity. It's like I don't know why they would make the horn like that on a Supra. It's hilarious. It sounds like an air horn. It's like it's Google it. Oh, it's so bad. It's so bad. 382 horsepower, and he can't even avoid an old lady in an SUV. I'm disappointed. Shout out to Mark Dutch. Yeah, I guess it is kind of sad, right? It's also just like you can't fathom. Like I just can't fathom. I guess I can now. I can't fathom the idea. I'm like, yeah, surely you're just not gonna drive into the car next to you, right? And like usually it's just like a little beep, beep, like I'm here. Like, nope, just scoot. And I actually don't know if it's 382 horsepower, if I'm being honest. The car had one previous owner. It had 8,000 miles. So it's like basically brand new, but it had one previous owner, but it came with an Armor Speed intake. And I'm going to get the ECU flash because I'm suspicious that it has a stage 1 tune. Maybe it doesn't. I don't know, but I gotta check. It's ironic she was driving a BMW. I know, right? She's probably like, fake Supra. I'm not going to lie, guys. I love that car. It's such a fun car to drive. It's got a really cool look. I really do like it. And I have a guy in my neighborhood who has a So here's the thing. I know a lot of people hate on the Mark 5s because they're, fake Supers are really just BMWs. Come on, Bitcoin. Get above that 786. There you go. Push on top of it. Nah, come on. Oh, God. People hate on the Mark 5s because they're really just BMWs, which is, true. But there's a guy in my neighborhood has a Mark 4 Supra and a right-hand drive R34 Skyline. And that guy... I drove by his house and I'm like, oh God, this guy's got a Mark IV Supra. I'm like driving around like he's gonna hate me. And he was low key. He gave me the thumbs up. He was like, yo, I'm gonna try to link up with that guy. Mrs. Candles found him on Facebook and he owns like a tuning shop. So next time I see him outside on his Mark IV Supra, I'm gonna hit him up. I'm gonna be like, yo, what's up, dude? So I got the nod of approval from a Mark IV Supra owner. So sick that there's one of those in my neighborhood. And an right-hand drive R34 Skyline. Like the god of all JDM. Pretty sick. All right, let's see. I like the new Supras and the BMW M340s. Yeah. I obviously like them as well. I just think the hate is I get the fake Supra argument. It's not too Jay-Z. I get it. But that thing is sick, man. I love that car. Stalker. Shout out to Philly Skills. Mrs. Candles is she's like a private investigator. She goes, I'll find him in 2 seconds. Because she was the one that told me, she goes, I think that guy has a really cool old car. I said, how do you know it's cool? And she goes, because the steering wheel was on the wrong side. And I was like, what? And then I saw it. And I was like, no way this guy's got a right-hand drive R34. RX-7 is the GOAT of JDM. Yeah, RX-7s are sick too. Buy a real Supra. Maybe I will. I will. I needed a balance, though. This is like my daily driver. Like, I need like some kind of modern amenities. I mean, I'm not a I need CarPlay. I need like modern stuff. But I wouldn't get it as my daily. Maybe I'll get one day. What do those go for? I think they go for like $100,000 or something. All right. So Bitcoin fighting this value area high, guys. We got to hold here and break here. Come on. Do it for us. Don't make me talk about supers more. I just can't catch a break, guys. Internet problems. People hitting my Supra. 105 fevers. They're trying to take me out in 2026. I'm not leaving. I'm not leaving. My next door neighbor has a DeLorean. Dang, that's sick. That's sick. Frankie, I'm in the UK and I have a right-hand drive R34G. No way, bro. Shout out to Jay Smith. That's lit, dude. That's lit. Talk about. Oh my God. That's sick. That is sick. How is it driving right-hand drive? I don't know if I could drive stick right-hand drive. That'd be weird. I could drive stick left-hand drive. I don't know if it'd be weird. I'd be like trying to put the gears into the wrong. That'd be weird. Ew, that's sick, bro. You got a goated car right there. I have a Golf R, and I love it, but want to get a BMW M340i. Yeah, those are sick, too. Golf Rs and the M340i's. My dad has a GTR. If you don't know what that is, YouTube, my dad has a GTR. It's the best video you ever see. All right, so we'll see. I'm just going to go ahead and set an alert here so I can know if we get that break. Let's check in on some of these altcoins. Someone wanted to see Arrow before. I don't even know if they're still in here, but I saw a couple people asking for Arrow. Let's check in on Indian Martini here. Got to stay inside this. Set this for Indian Martini as well. Indian Martini, LFG. And let's take a quick look at Arrow. Where's our Arrow chart, bro? Coinbase chart? Okay. All right. So, I mean, we are in the zone here, guys. Key level, 786. This is the level we did not want to lose. Still is the level you do not want to lose. You break down below this. Looking to crack the lows at about 39. Shout out to Tony D. Thank you for the super chat. Said, show the class. Tony, I don't want. What is that, bro? I don't know if I want to open this, bro. You know, you guys know if you're an OG of the CandleMafia, you know I got OCD clicking links on stream. Obviously, Tony D would never do anything like that to me. Shout out to anybody. Is there anybody here from the holy stream, the all holy stream from back in the day? Try to do something nice for somebody, and they just try to get you banned on YouTube. Shout out to anybody who was in that stream. I don't know. It might be slim pickings around this sentiment. We don't have a ton of people interested in crypto right now, but yeah, let me know if anybody was in that stream. If you were, I apologize once again. I can't believe that happened, man. That is the craziest thing ever. Can't really. Yup, still have PTSD. Shout out to Mark Dutch. For those of you who don't know, back in the day, somebody asked me to critique their TA. I did it, and it was about 5 seconds of gold TA. And I was like, listen, I was way naive back then. I don't know why I even tried to do that. And, played the video and just instantly cut to something holy. And I'm not talking about religion. So, is what it is. You got PTSD, not OCD. Did I say OCD? I definitely have PTSD from that. Did I say OCD? That's crazy. Shout out to Tony D. I'm going to click that link in a second, but let me finish this Arrow analysis. It's going to be a super horn. I know it is. But yeah, this 786, guys, this is the level, right? Because if we're going to look at the daily money flow, just still attempting to come up here, right? Like, and this is the hope, right? If Bitcoin can continue the bigger overall retracement to the upside, right? Hopefully cracking this high at some point. I'm not so fully convinced on that just yet. But if we are going to, continue a bigger overall macro retracement on Bitcoin, right? You're hoping that could leak into the altcoins as well. And if we're going to put in that higher low on Bitcoin, right, which is literally happening at the last possible level right now on Bitcoin, right, we're hoping this daily money flow can continue up, right? And then, okay, there we go. There we go. Bitcoin holding the 786. Come on, let's snap this high here. Let's snap that high. But coming back over here to Arrow, got to hold this 786, right? And let me just see this real quick. All right, so we lose this 786, guys. We're looking for a low, a high, a higher low, and a potential higher high. You know, maybe pushing into this daily at about $83. Obviously, we have the 786 at about 67 cents. You got to be careful around that as well. But if we're going to be looking for a low, high, higher low, higher high, you know, this is the area to do it at. And then once you lose that 786, that idea is invalidated, and we're going to be looking to take out those lows. So just to show why this is key, why we labeled this last week as a key level, it's because it's at 786. And, you know, if we're going to come down there, right, we knew we were going to see resistance at the point of control. This is the last level to hold, right? And then if you can get that daily money flow, you can look for the higher low, could indicate a break of the highs for a continuation up. Snap that 786, looking up towards the daily at 83 cents. So those are the kind of simple key levels that I'll be looking at on Aerodrome. Oh, there you go. All right, so let's see if we can take out these highs on Bitcoin. Above the 786, which is nice. Yeah, we just don't want to get too accepted into this value area. Right? It's like, even as we came down, right? Like, hey, we come down here, hoping to hold the POC. We don't want to lose the POC. If we lose the POC, looking down to the low. But if we can hold the POC and get back out of here, hold on top of that 786, still opportunities to come take out that, still opportunities to come and take out that high. All right, if we're going to look for a high, a low, a lower high, and a lower low, that's the level to reject. Stay above it. Opportunity to take out the high. So let's see. Shout out to Daniel Spooner, says Kathy Wood said the low is in and we're going parabolic. All right, let's go. I'm down. All right, let's see here. Let me just pull up my face cam here real quick, guys. Oh, yeah, baby. Oh, yeah. Hang on. Guys, this is the best video on the internet. This is the best video on the internet.
I have $60. You don't even have a PlayStation 3 or 4 or Xbox One or Xbox 360. I play whatever game I want.
Whatever he wants. That's smart. All right, you got this, buddy? Talk to him.
My dad has a GTR.
Let's go. Yo, first off, making little kids rap battle each other like that should be considered child abuse. But that kid shut him down. You don't even have PS4 or Xbox or my dad has a GTR. That's my favorite video on the internet, bro. That is my favorite video on the dang internet. Oh, my God. Shout out to Tony D. You're the GOAT for sending that, bro. Oh, God. My dad has a GTR. I wish I was a rich little kid and my dad had a GTR and I could just flex my dad's GTR on people. That is hilarious. Oh, God. Oh, God. Satoshi Nakamoto in the chat says, just because you see era stuff moving doesn't mean it's going to dump. I don't know exactly what that means. Dog, that's some New York type ish. Yeah, shout out to Newbie Crypto. Yeah, yeah, they're just like, bro, there's like crazy music playing in the background, like beep, 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 beep. And like it's New York because all the adults went crazy. Like, oh, I don't know what it is about the vibe of that video that I love so much. Oh God. Some 15-minute bear divs forming. I wouldn't say it's super strong. I mean, you could argue. I mean, these are like equal highs almost. They're not significantly higher highs. Still technically a divergence if you get the lower high here on your momentum waves. Money flow trying to cross red there as well. But yeah, really what I would like to see there is either like a strong higher high like that or even like a local 15-minute bear div, something like that. Yeah, I mean, like from a technical perspective, I guess you can consider that an exaggerated bearish divergence. Yeah, you got a little bit of a 30-minute div forming there as well. But again, it's got that 24-minute money flow. We'll see what happens. We'll see what happens, especially after that like spam through this profile. And I'll be honest, guys, like through this profile that we're looking at live, like it's not every time that like you just get candle like to just fill the entire profile. But again, like I said before, right? Like this lack in volume also was kind of part of the thought process there. Of like, you flip that value area low. Of course, it opens up the POC, but also like the lack of volume is also going to assist the fast move up. So just like another way that you could kind of add a little bit of confluence to see if that's going to fill or not. Is like much less volume here, and then you have that strong high volume magnetic node up here. And we know that price likes fast move down. Now, somewhat of a fast move up, somewhat of a fast move down, somewhat of a fast move up, fast move down. Oftentimes you'll see those kind of low volume gaps fill like that. But even if you weren't paying attention to that, right? Volume profile, PLC value area high, just that simple theory kind of holds up. But really right now, guys, what I'm looking at is you just don't want to lose it. You lose this POC, we're probably headed back down to the value area low. And this is just local, right? Like when we take a look at the higher time frames. And I'll give you guys like a simple, before we probably wrap up at some point soon here, I'll give you guys kind of like a clean little overview before I let you guys go. Check ETH real quick for our boy Indian Martini. My dad is a GTR. He just came out of nowhere with that, bro. Somebody told him, oh, yo, that's the funny part of that about that video is like I'm pretty sure like some dude comes up and whispers in his ear. Because he knew it was going to shut the place down. They're probably at a car show. And he was ready to say it, too. He's like, my dad is a GTR. Yo. Oh, God. Shout out to Daniel says, Frankie, in the kitchen trading chat, I posted the Coinbase chart showing 4 wicks to $1 million. Why didn't you call that bump? Are there really Coinbase wicks to $1 million? That can't be true. I don't know. I don't know if that's real or not. But yeah, I mean, sometimes those big wicks to $1 million are hard to see. I mean, sometimes they just set up silently and they just happen so fast you can't call them. It kind of stinks because I could have sold my spot bags up there and been a quadrillionaire. Shout out to Daniel. They'll come back for the liquidity left at 84K, potentially. But short term 97.52. Yeah, I mean, we could sit here and the stream replay is The YouTube stream is like a little bit behind, and I can see it's playing the my dad's GTR video. Yeah, somebody whispers in his ear right before he says it. That's so funny. But yeah, I mean, listen, guys, we could try to figure it out till we're, yeah, it's gonna go to 93 first. No, then it's gonna go to 95 here, sir. No, I bet you $1 billion gonna go here for like it's not gonna do anybody any good, right? Because when people start doing that, right, like that's not gonna help you make money, right? Because like that's all ego-driven predictions, right? And that's okay, right? Like if you want price to go to 86K, right? And this is why I take an agnostic view on the market. Like, will they go take the 86K liquidity first? Maybe, right? But I don't see it as they have to go take that first. What we can say is oftentimes that liquidity does get taken. If we know that is a high probability thing, well, guess what? If we start wiggling our way down, we keep our eye on that and we look at that liquidity as a potential liquidity sweep, right? But there's no reason, right? There's the same thing with CME gaps, right? Like people always say, like the CME gap has to fill. There's no way it could go back up. You're an idiot if you think it's going to go back up. But like the thing about CME gaps is like they don't always fill right away, right? A high majority of them do fill very soon. But it's just something you take down, right? You'll have the CME gap there. I actually think there might be a CME gap down here. But I'm just saying in general, right? You mark off that CME gap, and you just understand it's there, right? There's nothing ever on the charts that's going to guarantee that you get that move. Of course, there's high probability moves, high probability things that play out, such as a volume profile rotation like we saw earlier in the stream. But like even that, right? Like it's not an emotional, it's not like an emotional, this has to happen, right? Because the second you lose that humility, the market will humble you. It's very important. Trust me. I used to think that too, right? I used to think like that. But it's very important that you don't do that, right? It's very damaging, and it's going to hurt you and not help you. So can we go to 86K to sweep out the liquidity? Sure. Is that going to happen before we get the bigger retracement? Is that going to happen before we get the bigger retracement into the macro golden pocket? Which I just deleted. God, which one of these wicks is it? Right? Is that going to happen? Whoops. Come on. Bear with me here, guys. I've used TradingView before, I swear. Is that going to happen before we push into this bigger retracement? Right? All we could do is make your next best bet, right? And I would say personally, if this money flow stays in the green, it looks like the trend could continue up, right? We could say this, I could say this looks like it's going to get hit first. Does that mean it has to? Absolutely not, right? At the end of the day, nobody knows, right? So you just have to have both opportunities or situations in mind and then react based off of what happens, right? You don't have to make a bet here, whether you're going to come up or down, right? You could say, hey, if I get up here, then I'm interested in a potential short position. If I come down to 86K and sweep out the liquidity, then I'm interested in a long position. There may not be a trade, right? I would say if there is a trade here, I would personally have to look for a short, right? Not because I think it's more likely to go down, but just because when I look at the local levels, I don't long into resistance, right? I just can't long directly into resistance. I would have to short. I'm not saying it's a good trade. I'm just saying if I had to, I would have to look for a short. But for me personally, there would be no real trade here. It would be wait until we get up here or wait until you come down and sweep the liquidity. I don't know which one's going to happen first. I don't care which one happens first, right? Whatever happens is what I will react off of, right? Shout out to Sandra. Thank you for the super chat. Says, well, at least BTC can make its mind up. Hopefully it can. Hopefully it can. Because like even from a high time frame view, it's like Bitcoin just kind of stuck here. And again, I'll give you that kind of clear overall view of what I'm looking at. But, we'll see. And you take a look at the liquidation heat map again. You got that liquidity down below 86K. I mean, this does tend to be magnetic. But we're not bouncing for no reason, right? We've tapped into the key support. You got some bullish divergences. You're starting to see money flow come up a little bit. So obviously not impossible to get the bounce, but also not impossible to see that money flow cross over and get a bigger continuation. So if that does happen, right, we're just still within our profile here. Golden pocket, 786 is the next key level to look at. $90,929 to $92K. If we get that move up there, right, this is key resistance. If we flip that 786, I'd be looking to come into that value area high sitting at about 93,750. Where's your next significant Fibonacci retracement? Sits right on that value area high. So these are the biggest levels I would be looking at to the upside. If we continue up, you have your fib. Right on your POC. We could take this support off the chart. Right, so if you're going to move up there, if you get the lower high on the 786, maybe that's where you finally come down here, right? It's like you can see, I don't know if we're going to come down here first or if we're going to come up here first, right? But we just got to wait and react off of what we see, right? If we come up here with bearish divergences, right, maybe this 30-minute money flow winds up coming into the green, gives you a little trend to the upside, and then it starts to roll back over. We get those bearish confirmations for rejection back down here, right? If that 4-hour money flow is still in the red, whoops, that could be looked at as a lower high and a lower low. Maybe that's where we come down here, right? There's no reason to say it's 100% going to come down here, 100% going to come up here. You don't have to do that, right? It's like it's a waste of energy. I mean, unless you're looking for a position right here, which I guess in that case you would kind of need to know that. But that's not the only thing, right? That's not the only case. Like, you don't have to think like that. But, you know, I would also, I would also like, you know, if we can get, maybe we get this, right, and we do come down, it'd be really nice to get some nice 4-hour bull divs down here. You get some nice higher time frame bull divs. That would be nice. But these are the biggest levels to look at, in my opinion. We're still within the macro, larger macro range here. Value area low, golden pocket confluence sits here. Now, there's two golden pockets you can look at here. You can look at the logarithmic fib, or you can look at the non-log fib. The non-log fib has been tapped, right? And then if you base it off the log scale, you have it down here in perfect confluence. So it sits between 86,855 and 86,91. POC Fibonacci zone number 1 sits between 90,929 and 92,54, and then you have the golden pocket value area high 93,539 and 94,185. Wouldn't be until we get out of this and above this 786 right here at 95,598 that I would be looking for the new high. And again, just to give the kind of, let me grab all this stuff, drop it in here. To give the overall viewpoint from a high time frame perspective, just remember, what do we want to see here? The hope. The hope. Whoops. This daily is kind of throwing a curveball, right? Because as we saw the rejection of 98K where we're short from, the hope there with this daily money flow, like we literally talk about this on the live stream, if we get the pullback, can we look for a higher low? Yes, we can. Why? Money flow is in the green on the daily. This money flow has stayed in the green, honestly, somehow. I'm surprised this is not dumping. But it's a good sign, right? So we can still continue to look for higher lows and technically could potentially hold it. And this is the level that it would need to hold. So is a continuation for the bigger retracement still in store? I would say yes. With the daily money flow in the green, and as long as we hold above this support, that is still in the cards. But when we take a look at it from the 4-hour perspective, of course this money flow is coming out. This makes me a little bit suspicious of a continuation of the downtrend, right? So that daily is kind of throwing a little bit of a wrench in things for me personally. So we'll see what happens here. Hopefully this daily money flow holds. Hopefully the support holds. If not, right, if we just wind up, whether we get the retracement or not, and we wind up coming back down, losing this level at that point, right, we start breaking structure. I would have to say the breakdown is more likely. But as long as we hold above here, as long as we can keep this daily money flow in the green, we're going to need more information to see if we can get this to continue up higher. But until then, right, like we don't have to pay attention to that. We can just keep an eye on our local range until we get above here, right? There's no reason to look up towards 94K. Until we get above 95K, there's no reason to look above the high. So this is the local range that I'll be looking at. I don't, we'll see but what happens. Maybe we get some crazy volatility some way. But this is what I'm going to be looking at. If we come back down, I'm just simply continuing to treat this as a volume profile. Look to come down here. If we come up first key level, second key level, crack above the 786, we're looking for the new high. So if I were looking for shorts, personally, I'd be looking here and here. If I were looking for longs, at this point, I'd be looking down here. And we'll see what happens. And again, I think the big indication for the macro move is all going to come down to the weekly. It's weekly VWAP. This is rolling over. I think this next weekly red dot, guys, is going to be the thing to let us know if we're going to get the big breakdown or not. So we'll see what happens. Rolling over, money flow still continuing out. High time frame viewpoint remains exactly the same. I won't repeat that. But we'll see what happens. Yeah, Nicholas said big players can't decide which side they want to liquidate first. Yeah, it could be the case. Those candles totally cracked me up. Yeah, this price action is kind of wild. All wonked out, baby. But we'll see. I was kind of hoping that we would break here in one way or the other before we sign off. But she doesn't want to pick a direction. Check Exo charts here real quick. Yeah, I mean you did have a decent amount of shorts coming at the high between about 90,208 to about 90K almost. So let's see, 9208. See something. Yeah, he had a lot of shorts coming up here. So, yeah, I mean, I would say, yeah, if you could break above this 786, I'm going to try to keep it as simple as possible. Stay on top of the POC. Stay on top of the 786. Might be able to squeeze above that high. See what happens. I would almost guess the second I end the live stream, we're going to get a move in either direction. But this will be the local viewpoint as well for anybody looking for the local levels. Got your value area high here at 90,291. POC at 89,360. Value area low at about 88,580. So we'll see what happens here. Lose this POC, I'd look to come back down here. 24-minute red dot. Incoming. Let's see. Yeah, too many shorts came in. Yeah, and by saying that a lot of shorts came in here, what I mean is we get squeezed above that, like 90,208, right? We start squeezing up here, right? You could stop out those shorts and get a squeeze up, right? Which is consistent with the idea of staying above that 786, invalidating the lower high, and giving you the likely break of that high. So we'll see what happens. We start cracking like 90,002-ish, 90,002. Like start breaking these highs, could get the squeeze. Can you use Lux Algo for stocks like Tesla too? Yeah, of course. Of course. You could use any of the indicators I use for stocks. Squeeze the cheese. Hey, I have some squeeze cheese. You guys know what squeeze cheese is? It's like a little stress ball thing. It's actually really satisfying. I wish I had it on my desk. I don't. And that little squeeze will push us right into the golden pocket. Shout out to TDK. Yes, that would make a lot of sense. Absolutely. I love the way you're thinking, brother. Right into that golden pocket, baby. Come on. Come on. Just make sure we didn't miss anything here. Shout out to Jack says, hey, Frankie, my 93.3K call is based on pulling the VP on the 4-hour leg. It's the POC classic Frankie Candles analysis. Let's see that. Let's see it. Let's go ahead and hide. Let's go ahead and hide this. I think I'm just gonna chill for a little bit, guys. I got nothing going on right now, so we'll just see if we can get that break. Pulled on the 4-hour leg. What do you say, 93.3? Shout out to you, brother. Man, I don't know exactly where you're pulling it from, but if you let me know, I'll try to pull it and take a look for you. Yeah, let me know. I'll try to pull it for you, brother. 3-hour stream, baby. Come on, we just crossed the 3-hour mark. We're going for 33 hours. Let's go. Shout out to Nick Dunn. Said, Tony, usually when he doesn't feel good, we get the best streams. Shout out to Nick. Yeah, you know what's crazy? It's when I went live for 5 hours last week, people were like, why is he live for 5 hours? And people made a good point. They were like, he's had internet problems and he couldn't stream. He's like getting withdrawals. I didn't even think of that. That's actually not a bad argument. That might be the case. That might be the case. Hey, shout out to Jonathan. He says, Frankie, last week on Tuesday at 3 p.m., Bitcoin shot up $3,000. Can you explain how something like that happens? Was that a short squeeze? Thank you, newbie trader. Shout out to Jonathan. Welcome in. Last Tuesday, Bitcoin shot up. I assume that's what you're talking about right there. So it depends, right? There's many ways to look at price action. For me personally, right? Was this? Yeah, last Tuesday. Yeah, it's definitely. So there are ways to figure out if these are short squeezes. But so here's the thing, right? Like the way I would anticipate this higher low and higher high, or the way that we anticipated this to be a higher low and higher high, because that's what we were looking for, was simply based off the money flow crossover, right? Now, was this a short squeeze? I could try to check EXO charts and kind of see what happened there. Let me see. You know, it could be a mixture of things as well. So, yeah, this is, yeah. So I can already see here there were massive liquidations. All right, so you see all these green bubbles. These are shorts getting liquidated. That's that move you're talking about. So, yeah, there was a lot of liquidations that were happening in there, so AKA short squeezes. But that's not, you know, that's like a really advanced way to look for price to move. I'm not saying I don't use that to look for price movements, but the simple way to look at that, right, is what do you expect price to do here? Well, number one, you have money flow crossing into the green on the daily. So at that point, any pullback on the daily is going to be looked at as a lackluster retracement, a higher low, and a higher high to come in. right? And that's why I would anticipate that to happen. So why did that happen? Well, at the end of the day, you had shorts getting liquidated and you had buy pressure, right? Like that's why price went up. So like that's like the technical answer. But you know, how do you predict this to happen? And if you watch the live streams, this is exactly what we were looking at. And it was just the idea of I believe we were looking at this we were looking at this macro volume profile, right? So at the time, what happens? We get the push up. At this point, what is happening on price? All right, we get the push up. We're back inside our volume profile. This is really nice. Why? Because if we can remain inside this profile and hold the value area low as support, where's the next likely target? The POC of the range. That's the next highest probability target on price, right? This is what we talked about. And it just is, right? How do I know if there's a good chance of seeing this happen, right? Well, number one, you're inside the volume profile, so it's already pretty high probability. And number two, you have money flow in the green on the daily. So that means any pullback at that point, right? I even come back a little bit more here, right? So I see price pushing up. Beautiful, right? And this is before what you're talking about, right? Price pushes up. Money flow starts crossing into the green. At this moment, I am saying to myself, this money flow crossover is probably, this indicates the overall trend. As this money flow stays up, I'm looking for higher lows, higher highs for the next target to be the POC, right? So any pullback I see here is okay, right? I'm thinking like, cool, it's bearish because it's a pullback, right? Well, that's bearish because it's downward price action. But I'm looking at it to very likely be a lackluster pullback for a higher low and then a higher high to continue the overall trend. Why? Money flow is in the green. That indicates the overall trend. So that's how you can identify like if a pullback is really bad or not, right? And that's why, well, I'll talk about that in a second, right? So I'm okay with pullbacks on the daily here as long as we can hold a higher low and this money flow stays in the green. And I see this VWAP coming down, ready to print a red dot, right? Once that red dot prints, that's probably when we're going to get the pullback. Red dot prints, there's the pullback, right? This is okay. Money flow is still in the green. The trend is still more likely to continue for a higher low and a higher high. We then push into the $89,000 value area low. This is a key level because we want to stay within the profile to keep that POC target open, which we did. Now, we're bouncing off the value area low. Once this VWAP curves up and prints a green dot, that's where we can expect the next leg to the upside. The red dot indicated a leg down, which was anticipated to be a higher low for a higher high. So even here, we're already anticipating something like this, right? And then we use the red and the green dots to anticipate when that'll happen. So when that green dot decides to print, I'll get rid of these lines real quick, right? So we're playing around. All right, it's okay. As long as we can hold above 89K, we're good. All right, we're still wiggling around. Okay, now what do I see? Now I see a green dot about to print with our money flow continuing into the green. This makes me think this is probably going to be the start of the leg into the POC. There it is. Right? That's how you predict that. So why it happens, I mean, there was buy pressure. People getting liquidated, stopped out of their shorts, creates buying pressure, right? You might have just had people buying as well, spot buying. That creates pressure to the upside. But how do we anticipate that, and how did we anticipate this during the live price action, right? Well, it was because of what I just explained with the money flow. Anytime that money flow crosses over into the green, you expect a lackluster retracement for a higher low and a higher high. And then you use that volume profile theory to your advantage, right? Well, hey, I could also say if I stay on top of that value area low, the POC target is still open, and it is the highest probability next area to go, right? So not only are you above the value area low with your high probability POC target in sight, right, and still open, but you also have your money flow pointing in the right direction as well, giving you kind of like double confidence there to get that push up. Does that make sense? Hopefully that answers your question, Jonathan. All right, let me pull chat back up here. Oh, Jack said, sorry, Frankie, I meant 95.4K POC for that volume profile on the 4-hour leg. The 93.3 is a key monthly level that must first be secured. So that is definitely hit, but we can lose price there for the downside. Yeah, I think, let's see. Trying to think of what monthly levels at an MPOC. I don't know exactly what monthly level. Let's come out of our replay mode. Not sure exactly what monthly level. Yeah, I'm not sure exactly what monthly level you're talking about. I'm not saying it's not there. I'm just literally not sure exactly what you're looking at. Yeah, I don't know. 95 for POC of the 4-hour leg. I don't know exactly where you're pulling that from. I'm sure it's there. I just don't know exactly where you're pulling it from. But yeah, I mean, if it's within the volume profile, I'm sure it's valid. And I'm just going to take some of this off just to clean up the chart so it's not super messy. But yeah, 95.4. I'm trying to see if I have any major key levels at 95.4. Yeah, I mean, the 786, let me pull that on log. That's pretty good. Yeah, 95.4 is a 786 on log. So yeah, I mean, that would be like a 786 retracement before a lower high and a lower low. Definitely valid, in my opinion. And then the 93.3 level, I mean, dang. It's also very close to your value area high, right? Literally 93.3. Also confluent with your golden pocket. Also valid for a lower high and lower low. 100%. Both of those are 100% valid, I would say. Shout out to Jack. So yeah, there you go. Most of the world thinks we're going to 32K right now. Shout out to Nicholas. I'm not personally looking down to 32K. I'm not saying I will never look down to 32K, but I am first if we get the bigger drop down, which of course is the longer term scenario that I would be paying attention to, even if we get the bigger retracement. Like I want to come up in here first and see what price looks like. All right, and this sits between 70 and 59K. If we could wiggle away a bottom down here, that would be pretty good news in my opinion. It wouldn't be until we ended up coming down here and then things still look like absolute garbage and we wind up like losing this. That's where I would start looking down closer to 32K. Is not my base case that I'll be looking down to 32K. I like this previous volume profile, number one, for the volume profile aspect. It also brings you down to like retest near your previous all-time highs. So it just makes sense to look here first. I don't think it's impossible to form a bottom down here if we have to make it. Like if we do have to get down here, like I don't think it's impossible to form a bottom down here, but it's all going to depend on what price looks like. If we start losing that range, that is where I will probably be looking down for a much bigger drop. And like that's where the 32K target starts to come into play. It's not my base case. So it's like not until you really start losing this and this value area high and POC do not hold up. So once we lose this and we get accepted below about 54K decisively, that's where I'd be looking at 47 to about 30K-ish. But until then, I'm not even going to pay attention to those levels. Again, not saying I won't eventually look at those if I have to, but this is definitely going to be the first big place to look for me personally. Hey, go figure. You're looking at 59,805. Yeah, shout out to Nicholas. But listen, I'm not saying that this is a bad level. Like 30 to 32K is for sure a valid level to look at. It's a very important level, specifically, because it's the value area low of the range. right? And it's about 30,650 on the Bybit chart, and on the Bitstamp chart, I believe, yeah, it's about the same. So very valid level. And, this all has to do with auction market theory, right? There's no reason, and again, I'm not saying that this is not valid, 100% valid, and even that 30-ish K level is super, super valid. But for me, right, I don't want to get all muddied up with, like, calling for these lower prices until we come in and play with that next value area, right? Once we come and play here, get the drop down, bada boom, bada bing, reanalyze price. What do the higher time frames look like? Does it look like another big breakdown is going to come? If so, that's kind of the next target, 34 to 30K. Smack that in the middle, 32K, right? So it's just not the very next level that I would be looking at. So we'll see. And to be honest, right, depending on how fast or slow we come down, looking at the weekly time frame, if we get that weekly money flow crossover and we come down like sooner than later, we'll see what happens. Like, it depends on how long we hang out down here as well, right? If we just kind of like melt down here, the money flow just crosses into the red, I'm going to have to probably be looking for lower highs and lower lows again, in which case those lower targets do come into play very quickly. But I just, if we can catch an earlier bottom here, we're going to be ready to spot that and hopefully not have to talk about those levels. I hope I don't have to talk about these levels. People didn't even want to hear 94 to 92K. I am not excited about talking about 30s or 40s. So I'm going to take it step by step, but definitely a valid target, Nicholas. You're not looking at nothing there at all. You got valid reasons to look down there. Yeah, Frankie needs to get off the stream so Bitcoin will move. Yeah, Bitcoin knows I'm watching. It just won't move unless I walk away. It seems like there's a bearish bias in the charts. Yeah, I mean, it depends. It depends on what time frame you're looking at. I would say on the higher time frames, there is a bearish bias for sure. At least based off what I look at, right? Whether the high is in, right? Like, at the end of the day, guys, the high could be in. I don't know whether the high is in here or we want to go up for that bigger retracement and that daily money flow stays in the green. That's the hope. If you do not want this to be the high, right? If you do not want this to be the current high, if you don't want the current high to be the high before breaking down, you're banking on the daily money flow, which is in the green, right? There is I can make an argument for this being the top and then also coming up for a bigger retracement. I can make the argument for both sides. But again, this is why, like, you don't need to know 100%, right? And hopefully, shout out to Rudy. Hopefully that the setup that we helped Rudy with could just show you, right? Like, you don't need to know this is the top and then we're going lower and then, like, that's how you make money. That doesn't need to be the case, right? Whoops. All right, everybody calm down. Everybody calm down. I got it under control. When we shorted this, right, of course we got this to play out nicely. But we didn't even need this to play out as much as it has played out to make money, right? We could have even gotten the local targets hit, and we still would have made money even if it went against us, right? We could have taken partial profits down here, stopped out in profit, and still got a bigger continuation up. Our long would have continued to play out, right? So I didn't need to know that it was going to come all the way down here to make money, right? So you just have the sooner you can understand that price can go in any direction, and as long as you can identify where the high probability reactions are going to happen, you can make money, right? Whether this played out 2%, 5%, 7%, or whatever we're up right now, or down, I should say, right? Wound up coming down 10%, right? It doesn't matter. Like, it doesn't mean that you have to hold this whole position until you get down here, and if it doesn't come down here, you have to hold the position and then lose money. You don't have to do that, right? You just take partial profits and protect yourself. So, when I took this short, I knew there was a probability, and there still is, that this could be the high, right? So how do we approach that? When we took the short, we say, hey, I'm taking the short here. There's a high probability of a rejection. We see the confirmations. Of course, we get that high probability of rejection, and we continue down. When we see that, right, we say, hey, this is good, right? But we could potentially hold this this could potentially turn into a swing trade. But at first, I could maybe pull up the Discord and show you the targets, right? At first, you have local targets, right? We had local support right here. So we had a local target right here for an almost 3% move down, right? So when we take that short, we get about a 3% move to the downside, right? Like this is where you can move your stop loss to break even or take profit and move your stop loss to break even, putting you in a guaranteed winning trade. And then at that point, it's like, okay, cool, boom, I made some money. And now I'm protected with my stop loss at break even. I have a guaranteed winning trade. I'm going to hold the rest of this and see if I can get the winner to run. If it turns around and stops you out, you still make money, right? So just to be clear, this could be the high, right? And we could see that trade turn into a bigger swing. But if you do not want that to be the case, you are banking on the high or low being here with the money flow coming, staying in the green on the daily. This is valid, right? I don't know if this is going to turn into a bigger trade. I know it's possible. I'm going to hold a portion of my short for that, right? But I could still also make an argument here. Daily money flow, holding your macro value area low. You're holding a higher low. Could be a continuation of the overall uptrend. You don't need to know, guys. Like, I make money, and I don't always know. And I like to try to show you guys that you don't need to make a 100% gamble. I'm going to get in here, and then it has to come down here, or I'm going to lose money. It doesn't have to be like that, right? I mean, you could trade like that if you want. It's totally fine. But it doesn't have to be like that. So 2 arguments, right? Bigger retracement, still technically open. I can't say it's invalidated, right? Still holding higher lows technically. Still holding it, right? Until we wind up breaking that down. This is open. That just is what it is. Money flow in the green. Technically, you could put it in a new high, where I would be targeting around 100 to 101K. But is it going to reverse first? I don't know. If it does, well, cool. I'm holding a portion of my short. But those are the 2 things, right? And it would be nice, right? Like, it would be a lot cleaner if this money flow was coming out, right? Or even if this money flow was like kind of flat and a red dot was going to print, I'd feel much more confident about just a continuation down here. But right now, there is an argument to be made for both sides. But you can still make money in both directions. So there you go. Hopefully that helps somebody out there. Shout out to Jax, says, I never understand why people don't like lower prices for Bitcoin. It's the best time to buy. Yeah, I mean, well, I think because a lot of people get into I think right now a lot of people are in, and they got in really late, and they're down bad. And they're hoping for a big retracement to recover their losses or, hopefully get back into profit. I think that's why a lot of people are not interested in lower prices right now. But I agree with you, bro. When you're well positioned in the market, you're excited for lower prices, right? Like, I've made a lot of money throughout this bull market, right? I've taken a lot of profit. So it's like I'm happy at this point to get the bigger drops down. I'm prepared and just buy the lower prices for sure. But it really depends on people's positioning, right? Like, people were buying up here. Oh my God, we're breaking out. I'll say it till I'm blue in the face, guys. You do not want to buy the big green candles. You put yourself at risk of buying tops, whether it's the actual top or whether it's just local tops, to spook yourself before finally coming back up, right? You want to buy on the dips, not buy on the rips. This is the mistake that literally everybody makes when they first get into crypto. And those people are definitely not rooting for lower prices. And I feel for them. Like, I've been in those cases before. I'm not perfect. I haven't always been perfect, right? But we'll see. Obviously, somewhat of a bear flag forming here as well. If you pull this entire measured move, what's that bring you down to? About $58,500. That's interesting, isn't it? Right back to the bottom of this range. I mean, what if I just pull the local leg here? Wow, that's interesting too, isn't it? That literally just interesting. Shout out to Dean Mills, says there's people that are down and are waiting for the bear market bottom to go all in. Yeah, I would always recommend. I'm not financial advice. I would always recommend that rather than waiting for the bottom, big dump, than to sell. Might as well just I don't know. For me personally, it's like if I round trip my bags up here, like, you might as well just throw the rest of your money in here, just try to ride it back up. Definitely never looking to sell on the big dumps, especially on Bitcoin, right? It's like, just buy the dips on Bitcoin, man. Like, it goes up into the right over time, and when in doubt, zoom out. If you really get scared, Zoom out to a monthly time frame. This thing goes up and to the right. Very scary dip. Back up. Very scary dip. Back up. However deep we come here, very scary dip. It's going to go back up at some point, right? Very, very likely. Don't leave us, Rudy. We need you. Frankie, thanks for being a Chad and helping me win that trade. You're the best. I joined your Discord, too, even though I don't have premium. Wish you all the best. Shout out to Rudy. Congratulations, bro. Hashtag root for Rudy, bro. I'm so happy we were able to do that for you. And congratulations on the trade, bro. Go buy yourself something nice. Go buy yourself, I don't know, maybe a Chipotle burrito. I think I'm going to go get a Chipotle burrito after this live stream. I'm addicted to the steak burritos. Double steak, baby. Shout out to Rudy, bro. We'll throw some money for you. Bing bong. Let's go. Oh, God. I just got assaulted. By Benjamin Franklin. Oh, my God. All right. Anyway, 105 fever. Paper cut on the eye. We're going to make it, guys. We're going to make it. Yeah, altcoins have ruined diversified portfolios. Yeah, shout out to Cookie Cutter. Yeah, I think that's the most pain. I think that's where the pain comes from, is the altcoin market, right? Because, even here, right, like Bitcoin is this is not really, right, like currently down 27%. That is not that crazy for Bitcoin, right? I don't think a lot of people are complaining about the dump on Bitcoin unless they're in from the tippy top. I think really all the pain is coming from, obviously, this dragging down altcoins as well. And that's where people are having all their big losses. But as I always say, diversification is great. But you need to have for me personally, I have a weighted diversification, right? Like most of my big capital is in, top 10 coins, right? Like most in Bitcoin, Ethereum, Solana, XRP, like top coins, right? I don't ever, a lot of my altcoins that are down, this is why I'm happy that I have my bags diversified like this, because I'm down on some of my alts too. But the alts that I'm down big time on are smaller percentages of my portfolio, right? Like I'm in, right, my average entry price around $20-ish, $21,000 on Bitcoin. Those gains are massive, right? The my Ethereum, my Solana bags, my entry on Solana is $30, right? Like those bags are up massively. And because they're a larger portion of my portfolio, the one, I have altcoins that are brutalized. I just showed Peak, right? I own Peak. That's Peak Euro, right? Peak is down miserably right now. I own this, right? I'm down here. But this is such a smaller percentage of my portfolio that it doesn't even come close to eating, ruining my portfolio as a whole, right? Because I'm well balanced. So, yeah, I didn't know it was going to play out that way. I wound up being really happy with the way I was positioned. But, it's just something to think about moving forward. I would never recommend somebody put 50% of their portfolio in a lower market cap altcoin or something like that. So you just got to think about that stuff, right? Shout out to Rat IRL. Welcome in. Says, what's up, Frankie? Shout out to Full Melt Mike. Said, Notre Dame Rudy fighting Irish. Let's go. Shout out to Full Melt Mike. Do I have any stocks too? Not currently. Not a lot. That's part of my goal here. Luckily, I do plan on being. I am very over leveraged in crypto. Probably more than I even want to be. Obviously, it's my full-time job. I'm in this market. I trade this market every single day. But yeah, I need to get more diversified into stocks. But I'm just waiting for a good opportunity. Obviously, I'm not buying that thing at all-time highs. So, I practice what I preach, right? I'm not going to buy the stock market up here. So next big opportunity, I plan on buying into the stock market pretty heavily. just to get a little bit more diversified, maybe put some of my Bitcoin profits that I took this cycle into the stock market, just so I'm not like completely exposed to crypto. What do I think of Cardano? Let's take a look here real quick. All right, well, locally, I mean, you're holding your 786. I mean, that's the level. And I wish I wasn't sick, and I wish I didn't have garbage internet, because here's the volume profile rotation. Value area low into obviously the POC, then into the high, right? We come back down eventually, right? Oh my God, big pump back above the POC. Nope, right back down to the value area low. This is the level that you needed to hold, right? This is pulled. You got the 786 tap. You lost the value area. Another 786 tap. Another 786 tap. Excuse me. You don't want to lose this. You lose this 786. I would probably anticipate to take out these lows here at about 32 cents. However, on the flip side of that coin, get back inside the value area low here at 37 cents. You can look for a rotation back to the POC. Flip the POC. Go back up to the high, potentially. These would be the local levels I would look at. Value area low or the doorway to higher prices would be sitting right here at about 37 cents. The POC currently sits at about 41 cents. Value area high sits at 43 cents. And then if we take a look at let me folder this real quick. Take a larger view here. This is kind of the view that we've been taking recently. Obviously, looking at this golden pocket as our major key level of resistance. And interesting scenario here, right? We lose the value area high. POC is next. Tried to lose the POC, came back up. Golden pocket indeed ended up being resistance for another break back down below the POC. I would say in general here, macro time frame, money flow on the daily attempting to continue up. Green dot looking to print. But if you could flip above that, you got to get back above this POC, sitting at 38 cents. If you can't break above this POC, I mean, the next major key level of support still sits at 28 cents. Nothing has really changed there. We're just inside this larger volume profile. I'm going to be viewing this. Acceptance into the high. POC. You could bing bong around. You can get big retracements. As long as you remain in this range, I have to keep an eye on this 28 cent value area low. So for now, right, like an important level to get above would be the POC at 38 cents. Once you get above there, maybe you can start pushing up to some of these bigger retracement levels. But, as far as like massive moves up, I mean, like until we get out of this range, like there's no reason to really look for them. But you got daily money flow coming up a little bit. It's just, I don't know. It's like, it's still you didn't get the full rotation here, right? You still would also get the full fill of this wick. I'm just very suspicious of this filling down to 28 cents. Doesn't mean you can't get retracements, right? Doesn't mean you can't get a bigger push up, maybe even retest the value area high. But there's no reason to look for that value area high until you at least get above the POC. So POC sits at about 38 cents. Value area high on the macro range sits at 54 cents. Value area low at 28 cents, right? Still somewhat probable to eventually see this fill in full, right? Whether you get a bigger retracement then back down or you just can't get back above that POC. The only reason I'd be open to some kind of a bigger retracement coming in here is because of that daily money flow. If you can get that to cross green, right, you just got to look for that daily trend to the upside. Wouldn't change the higher time frame perspective of, lower highs and lower lows to come. So that's what I would look at on Cardano. Either way, I mean, like Cardano's in its 2022 bear market range. I'm not saying that like Cardano's super expensive down here or anything. But when it comes to like trying to find the key levels and stuff, I am very suspicious of coming back down here at some point. Next key levels, 38 cent POCs right above you. This golden pocket's obviously tapped, so we can. Come on. We could take that golden pocket off the chart, right? You still have the 786 up there. And if I had to pull another one, yeah, it's pulled locally. Let's pull this fib. Yeah, I mean, your next significant fib. 786 value area high confluence. And you got your golden pocket sitting right there. So these are the three major levels to look at. Yeah, you got this anchored VWAP fighting you really bad as well. But yeah, this is going to move, so I can't really give you that level. But the 786 sits at 45 cents. Golden pocket sits at 50 cents. And then the value area high sits at about 54 cents. So those would be the biggest levels to look at. If you are going to get bigger retracements, get above the POC. Technically, you could come up here, flip that. Technically, the next stop would be here. Flip that. Technically, the next stop would be there. I'm not saying you have to do that, but those are going to be the levels I'm looking at. But until then, like if we're inside this range, I'm suspicious of that low getting tapped. We'll see. Hopefully not. Hopefully we just scam up. I would love that. It's like I hate looking at this price action, guys, to be honest. I don't want to call for lower prices. I really don't. 4-hour stream today. Dang, looking like it. Looking like it. Shout out to Fran. Or let's make it 6 hours. Come on, baby. Let's do it. Let's see. Oh, God. Shout out to Jose said, does it look like we're going to be? We're going to be what? Shout out to Jose. A few days off the chart and yo, shout out to Erica. Welcome in, Erica. It says a few days off the charts and you go nuts on the live stream for hours. Shout out to Erica. We're here, baby. We're here. They can't keep me off, man. They tried to take out my internet. They tried to give me 105 fever. Not going to happen. Not going to happen. You can't hold me back. I would have gone live from a hospital bed. They could take out the Supra. They could try to take out the Supra, but they ain't taking me out. All right, let's see here. Bitcoin. Just wiggling around. Mark my words, guys. We're going to pop off, and this thing going to move. How's that 4-hour looking? All right, you got that. Yeah, it's just this isn't super close to a green dot. But I would say that 90-minute money flow is coming up. But usually I like to see that in confluence with a daily green dot. It's just not that close. It's daily green dot still got a little bit of work to do there. But yeah. Shout out to Nicholas. Said all markets and charts, even metals, looking like dog doo-doo, waiting to be lit on fire, in my opinion. Yeah, shout out to Nicholas. We'll see. We'll see. Hopefully not too bad. To the next volume profile. Shout out to Jose. Tempted to long the top. Don't do it. Don't do it. I'm kidding. Not financial advice. I can't tell you what to do. But, guys, I think that's what we got. I think that's all we got. We went at 3 hours and 45 minutes here. I'm feeling better, or at least a little bit better. I still feel a little bit sick, but fever's gone. I don't want to go too crazy and get myself sick again, but what we're looking for, we'll see what happens here, guys. The bullish hope is that if we can hold this low, the idea of putting in the continuation of the trend is open, but we got to be careful on that 4-hour money flow. So we'll see what happens. I am still holding the short position from 97.5, I think is my entry. Still holding that short position. Hopefully, I won't even say hopefully, right? Because it's like, I'd like a bigger move up anyway. But, we'll see. We'll see. I make arguments for the higher low coming in. I could also make arguments for the golden pocket being the actual top. I'm not here to guarantee one direction or the other, but what I can say is we're short from here. If it decides to melt down, I know we'll be short. And key levels to watch one last time. Locally, value area low golden pocket 86.7 to 86.191. POC sits at 91,234. Value area high, 93,687. Got the golden pocket confluence. Right here, right? This would be your Fibonacci retracement. This could slam you back down to come down to the low. If you break that, I'm looking to come up to the value area high. Very simple. Once we start breaking out of this value area, I'm starting to feel a little bit better about the new high coming in. But the real line in the sand would be the 786 at 95,570. We break that, we're looking for the new high to come in. So that's what we're looking at, guys. Hopefully we could, hold the support here. But just keep in mind, volume profile here, come down here. That's the next major area to look for. And, I don't want to overcomplicate things. If you just tuned in, you can scrub back to the beginning of the stream. We covered some exciting stuff, and we got Rudy to win a trade, baby. I love it. That was super exciting, and we're going to continue to try to do some of these earlier live streams and hang out with you guys during the day, during the live price action. Thank you guys for being here. Sorry for not being able to stream. Usually I just power through it when I'm sick, but when it's 105 fever, it's kind of hard to move. So I had to take a couple of days off there. But with all that being said, guys, that's all the time we got for tonight's live stream. Thank you all for tuning in. I appreciate every single one of you. Shout out to Carlos. Shout out to Jesse. Shout out to Crush It Nasty. Shout out to Crush It Nasty. Mark Dutch. Hot Tamale said I just got here, started over. Shout out to Hot Tamale. Scrub back, baby. Scrub back. But thank you guys for being here. I appreciate every single one of you. Smash the like button on your way out. If you're looking for a place to trade or looking to use any of the indicators that I use in this stream, check the links in the description down below or to join the premium Discord. That's all I got. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Hasta pasta. Frankie Candles out. Bing bong.
Here we go, at the top of the class on a roll, and it's time to run it up, yeah, maxed out, put the pedal to the floor, ayy, on the road, here we go, yeah, we winning by a landslide, never see me coming, I'm a landmine, yeah, I ain't taking orders in command, like, yeah, you about to see me on demand, like, on demand. If you ain't know, you about to understand, yeah. I got the team by my side, right hand, yeah. Take it to a string, you ain't seen it like that, yeah. And it's the dream, and we coming for the bag, yeah. And we ain't ever going back now. Future expedited, now we on the fast track now. They won't lend a hand, now they see us on the map now. It's time to act out. Here we go, at the top of the class on a roll, and it's time to run it up, yeah, maxed out, put the pedal to the floor, ayy, on the road, here we go, yeah, at the top of the class on a roll, ayy, and it's time to run it up, yeah, yeah, maxed out, put the pedal to the floor, yeah, on the road, here we go, Here we go, at the top of the class on a roll, and it's time to run it up, yeah, you know. Maxed out, put the pedal to the floor. Hey, on the road, here we go, yeah. At the top of the class on the road, hey, and it's time to